Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a little bit earlier than usual. My name is Brother Cult Member Matt Lepasic, and I have with you today two very familiar faces. They are also members of our cult. We are not ashamed to be a cult. Our cult is it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It's entertaining. It's pretty much the only place you can find friends. We have Jonathan Ruffles in the center. He's doing a Navy thingamabobber, and we have Alex Estrada. How are you guys doing this afternoon, pretending as if we haven't been talking for the last half an hour to one another?
Man, it feels good to be pretending that we weren't talking to each other for the past half hour, and I feel good, especially because it's so early. We're starting an hour early. I can see the sunlight. It's like golden hour. I'm ready for this show.
Amen. I don't know how I feel about the early. How do you feel, Mr. Estrada?
I feel like I'm jet lagged a little bit. I feel like I got off the plane and I don't know what time it is. It's kind of how I feel. But I'm excited about what we have to talk about. I know we have a lot to talk about. So I feel good.
Cool. Just checking to see. Okay, good. All right, and we are live on Rumble as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to expand our online presence. We've moved over to the free speech platform Rumble. YouTube is just disgusting. And what's cool is that here on Faith the Nation, we are on the Christ Forgiveness Ministries channel, our home church, our church who has discipled us, except for Alex. I believe you were discipled by that fat black pastor. What's his name again? T.D. Jakes. Fat black T.D. Jakes, who is now retired. But, we've moved on to Slim and Trim, Pastor David Lynn. And, so what's cool about YouTube for us is that we don't have to be like anybody else worrying about what we say, because this channel is as shadow banned as it possibly can. In fact, Brother JD from New York City was saying that he's been doing all this. He's a very heady, very studious, researching brother, and he was saying that he has lots to say about Muhammad that I think every other podcast and every other channel in the world would be terrified to speak of. But we say, come right on, because there's nothing more shadow banned in the world than Christ Forgiveness Ministries. So, with that being said, check us out on Rumble at Faith the Nation on Rumble. Subscribe over there on Rumble. And although the user interface is not the best over there at Rumble, let's just pretend like it's good enough. I wish they'd just clone the whole user interface of YouTube and just put the whole skin of YouTube on Rumble, and then we'd be that much more inclined to use it. We've got a jam-packed show, but before we do so, let's do wife clearances. I'd like each of you to speak to your wives and tell them that you need the next 6.5 hours for them to do everything in the house and to not even make eye contact with you so much as to walk within your presence. Go ahead and do that while I press a couple of buttons.
Yeah, it's probably not going to work out too well if I do that. So
I can do it.
Don't.
Oh, okay, go ahead. No.
Yeah, I was just going to say, don't take advice from Matt. He's single.
He's what is our David Lynn single clip? Yeah, I have a girl. Someone played the sound clip. You don't even have a girlfriend.
Sorry, man. I'm not there.
I got it.
You don't got a girlfriend. I'm married.
I thought that was a nice little setup. Well,
Listen,
we've got a lot.
Okay.
We've got
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to hear that. Go ahead. Let's hear you not be kind and compassionate and sincere, but let's hear you be the man of the house.
Oh,
okay.
Honey, clean that up right now.
Wow.
Okay, Jonathan, you already have my respect, brother, but you have just earned my respect to infinity. I love abusive relationships laced with a little bit of sense of humor. That is my style.
Seriously, clean that up.
Seriously.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. That was wow. Praise the Lord. Okay. Amen.
Praise the Lord. Well, we've got a lot going on in the news, so much going on in the news that it makes me question my own sanity because things are just way too good to be true. We're hearing a lot about foreign countries, a lot of the Middle East, and China has won. I'm sitting in a whole pool of regret because I keep listening to these online prophets that are saying that the whole world is going to come to an end, that the economy is going to crash, and it just does not seem to be happening. I'm buying food supplies, preparing for the end of the world, when in the back of my mind, I just felt like everything's going to be just fine, right? And I shouldn't listen to these daily online prophets, but for some reason, I didn't invest in Tesla when I should have. I didn't invest in the stock market. I lost every opportunity to put money in, and yet things are shining. This really is a golden age. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm feeling that from the seat over here.
Very true. The deceitfulness of riches, the love of money, the secret. What's that thing where it's like your selfish ambition, or like be careful that the light that's in you is not actually darkness. I mean, I struggle with all of that on a daily basis because there's so many opportunities right now all around us to really, make the benefit from this bright future that the Trump administration has been painting for us. But it seems like the internet is just laced with pessimism and laced with this guy's the Antichrist, this guy's the false prophet, and I just keep giving into it all. But in the back of my mind, I don't know if it's true. I really, really don't. Well, we've got a lot to get to here, but Alex, do you think you're sort of like our Middle East specialist? I sort of say that because you're in love with Israel, and out of the three of us, I do believe you're the most brown. I think that might be fair to say. So would you like to introduce us to the world of Donald Trump's, activities in the Middle East over the last couple of days before we have a chance to get to this major China win, which is just destroying everything?
Yeah,
Take us home.
it's actually been really incredible to see what's been happening in the Middle East. And, as we know, Donald Trump set out for the Middle East. He arrived in Saudi Arabia, I believe it was Tuesday. Yesterday, he went to Qatar. I would always say Qatar, Qatar. They don't have a U after the Q. But anyways, Qatar. He arrived in Qatar yesterday, which was Wednesday, and today he was in the United Arab Emirates. I think that's how you say that, right? And he's doing a Middle East tour. It's been pretty spectacular to kind of watch, interesting to say the least, because we really didn't know what he was going to do. I mean, obviously we knew he was going to be a diplomatic and, go and play the diplomat and, represent. But, man, he's been making deals. Some are a little bit questionable. I'm sure we'll get into it. But, yeah, it's been very interesting. What is your guys' thoughts on that?
Jonathan?
Yeah, man, I like it, man. I know that there's first of all, I want to say I do feel some of the skepticism, and maybe that's what Matt is talking about. I see that, I hear it. And I don't I can't say for sure. I don't know, to be honest, as far as it being like evil. I know there's a lot of people. Well, I won't say a lot of people, but I know that there's some people that think that this is evil. Maybe what's going on between Trump and the Saudis, and that we're selling our souls over here. I don't know, but it seems like to me, from what I see, that Trump is just doing the deal making that we know him, or he's being the deal maker that we know him to be. And yeah, it's kind of a generic answer, but I'm just going to see how this thing plays out. It was very interesting,
Jonathan,
how they greeted him.
Jonathan, you're supposed to say, no, we love Donald Trump. We worship him. He's doing absolutely everything great. He's doing everything perfect.
Matt, is that you?
Matt? Sorry. Was that Matt? Matt?
Wait a minute. What screen is? All right. Well, I'm sorry. You're right. So Donald Trump is the best president ever, and I trust everything he's doing in Saudi. Matter of fact, I think it was. That's all I'll say. It was amazing. But no, I just think that it seems like he's deal making, man. I'm just gonna wait. Like they said that they have all these investments, and I know that there was a lot said. I don't want to go too far if I'm jumping ahead about like about
what is our first clip,
not including
on that?
Israel or go ahead. I'm
let's-
sorry. I mean to yap.
Let's let our favorite Australian introduce us to the last week's events before we even have a chance to bathe, the relish in the China major win. If nothing else had happened this past week, I mean, China would be enough. And so much has happened that China is being overshadowed. Let's go to our favorite Australian.
Donald Trump has reached peak hero status in the Middle East after a hugely successful visit to the region. His latest announcement, the lifting of sanctions in Syria, caused an eruption of mass celebrations on the street.
Oh, so really quick, this is while he's in Qatar, and the guy directly across from Donald Trump. This is Mohammed Al-Jalani, which he changed his name now. It is something like Al-Shahara. He's changing his name, and so he's the president of Syria.
It's like, I'm no longer in Al-Qaeda. My name is now Al-Shahari.
Yeah, he's no longer Al-Qaeda. He's no longer part of ISIS. He's now in a suit, matching Donald Trump. Interesting.
And he's now reverberating a love that no theater actor could fake for the United States.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has reached peak hero status in the Middle East after a hugely successful visit to the region. His latest announcement, the lifting of sanctions in Syria, caused an eruption of mass celebrations on the streets.
So basically, there was this ban for that's been on Syria for like 45 years, and he meets this guy, this Al-Sahara. I have to look at his name. I don't know his new name, but he's got a new name now.
I believe it's Paul.
It's definitely not Paul. But yeah, apparently, so Donald Trump had lifted the ban, sanctions on Syria because he wanted to give Syria a chance. And, it's definitely risky what Donald Trump has done. That's definitely a risky move. I don't know that I definitely don't support it. I don't think but I don't know. I mean, but what do you do? But see, this is Donald Trump. He's so unorthodox, right? He does things so out of the box that it's like you never know what he's going to do. So, but this was what taking place in Syria. So obviously they're celebrating, right? Because they have a new country. They're celebrating, right? I mean, we were covering Syria, the fall of al-Assad. And we covered that here on Faith the Nation, and we covered this guy Al-Jalani, and now all of a sudden, it's like they're getting a victory. So 6 months into his reign, presidency, whatever you want to call it, he's gotten a big win, and he got it from Donald Trump.
Trump has truly gone to the Middle East with a goal of peace and prosperity for all, and is acting on this.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
That's the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, right there. And look at Elon Musk in the back. Look at Elon Musk in the back, right there.
Mm-hmm. Heartfelt Antichrist body language. Let's get through this.
Good.
That's how you guys look at your wives.
Look at Donald Trump giving himself a round of applause.
Jesus.
Age of prosperity for the troubled nation.
My dear fellow citizens, the path and the road is still long, and we are about to start the revolution of Syria so that we can transform Syria and make Syria a country of work. And
Yeah, I thought he was going to say that we were going to make Syria great again, to be honest. I really thought he was going to say
prosperity. And from here, we confirm that Syria will commit to
Online comment.
Yeah, and I thank you, Brother Harold Lee. I think it is important to preface, Brother Harold Lee says, I question his support for Syria, but I hope he pushes for support of the religious minority in Syria, especially Christians. I had to look into that, and we'll continue playing this, but there was some stipulations that Donald Trump did give to the president of Syria, basically saying, hey, you're not going to fund terrorism. You're not going to be receiving support from Iran. And,
I'm going to let you play, but as long as you stop funding terrorists, that you're going to be okay. You're going to be good. You're going to stop funding terrorists and killing your women. All right, you can play then in our great big store. You can play in our store.
Hit the play button.
Yeah.
I know if I do it, you're just going to do it at the same
Haters
time.
celebrated the news with this person saying, while most Americans probably didn't even hear that President Trump lifted sanctions on Syria, Syrians have filled the streets in
Let's be real. Most Americans are like, what's a sanction?
celebration. For many, this is life-changing news. This commentator agreed, saying, I will say this. For all my criticisms of Trump this week, if there is one man who can somehow make Syria change from a pariah regime to a functioning country, it's him. I really want to be hopeful this is the start of something new. Not holding my breath, but still. The announcement made Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman visibly excited, with the leader beaming with happiness. As well as giving Syria a lifeline, Trump's visit to the Middle East was very successful for the economic future of the United States, with the president signing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investments and partnerships. Trump then went on to Qatar, where he was given a rock star welcome, and brokered a multi-billion-dollar purchase agreement of 160 planes between Boeing and Qatar, the largest in the history of the company.
And the United States of America. Boeing purchase agreement signed on behalf of the state of Qatar by His Excellency Badr Mohammed Al Mir, CEO of Qatar Airways Company, and behalf of the United States, Kelly Ortberg, President and CEO.
So, let me just jump in here and read this. This is from Grok. Basically, the stipulations, there's about 12 of them. I'm just going to briefly just mention a few of them. Basically, that some of the stipulations are to protect human rights, initially against, some of the minorities, which would include Christians. That is something that they're supposed to be doing. Chemical weapons disarmament. They're supposed to also limit Iranian and Russian influence. And so, this is like a grab at, the potential for a Middle East peace, and also excluding Iran, right? Because in a lot of these countries, like Saudi Arabia, they don't like Iran. Matter of fact, they're enemies, and Saudi Arabia doesn't want Iran to have a nuke either. And so Trump is like coming in, and he's, as you saw right here, you saw a deal that was made with Qatar, $1.2 trillion with Qatar. Now, again, I don't know what to think about that, to be honest, because, Qatar has funded Hamas, right? Qatar is responsible for funding a lot of the pro-Palestine influence within the colleges in the United States of America, So again, I don't really know how I feel about it. I definitely have my head on a swivel.
You're sounding sounding a lot like the left-wing media there, Alex. Okay.
No, well, you know what? You can say that if you want, but that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. I mean, look, and like this. Okay, so for the viewers, I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard by now Qatar was offering a $400 million Boeing Palace on the air or on clouds or whatever they call it, right? This plane that they're gifting to the DOD, right? The Department of Defense or the Air Force. But it's really to Trump. I mean, let's just be real. They're giving it to Trump. They want Trump to have it because it's going to be his Air Force One. Like, I don't agree with that, to be honest. I don't like that. I don't want Donald Trump in a plane that was given from people that fund Hamas. I mean, you know, who's to say? And yeah, like, they're going to have to get this plane, and then they're going to have to dismantle the whole plane and put it back together just to check it for spying or bombs or whatever.
But just keep in mind that part of it, that happens at least, I think it's monthly. I was talking to Liza because, you know, Liza works on airplanes, and she says that all planes are required to be disassembled and assembled. I think she said quarterly or monthly or something like that. So it's quite a common procedure, even if it wasn't, you know, for this type of reasoning.
Okay, well, but still, I mean, yeah, but it's not going to be no regular one. I mean, they're going to have to check the seats for all different types of stuff, right? I mean,
sure,
you know,
M&Ms.
So, like, I just
no Reese's, no M&Ms, no Ruffles.
Yeah. I just don't want my president in there, I don't want my president in a plane that was gifted from people that fund Hamas. And so I don't know if there's a stipulation to the deal, perhaps, that he's making a deal with Qatar and saying, hey, I'll make a deal with you, but you got to stop funding Hamas, right? Or you got to stop funding. And I would imagine that that's also part of the deal. If he did that to al-Sahara, again, I don't know how they say that guy's name, his new name, but I would hope that there's other stipulations that is happening within that, you know, but man, I mean,
I hope they're going through that plane with a black light.
Yeah,
because, you know,
how do you trust? How do you trust people that don't have the Holy Spirit? Like really, like that are enemies. So that's where I'm at. John, where are you at?
Jonathan, yeah, before we go to Ben Shapiro, Jonathan, you know, our secondary leader in defense of Israel, do you have any thoughts on the subject?
I think Alex echoed a lot of how I feel. I definitely think that Iran doesn't want this unity to happen. I do think that it's positive to isolate them. It's exactly what what Russia's trying to prevent as well. They don't want to be isolated. They don't want to be surrounded. So yeah, like I see that happening, and I think that's a positive thing. The leaders of Iran are crazy. Obviously, Qatar, the leader, whoever is funding Hamas, they're crazy too. But it seems like at least they can play ball in some sense. It seems like they are a little more than Iran, who's not playing ball at all, much like a North Korea. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. I also don't like that. You know, I don't want President Trump in that plane either. So pretty much same sentiments.
I'm happy with it overall. You know, when I first heard that, you know, about Qatar, you know, the only thing I know about Qatar is that I go to Qatar Center to play the piano, you know, a couple of times a month over there, because that's where I get an audience. But beyond that, I really haven't heard too much about Qatar Center. Let's see what Ben Shapiro had to say on the subject, because I really feel he sort of, you know, it puts the Alex perspective, the side that's a little bit, you know, suspicious of what's going on here. He articulated it pretty well on a segment on Fox News.
That's jobs and investment, but a true reorganization of our relationship with this part of the world.
So first of all, I think to treat each one of these countries as exactly the same would be a mistake. The Saudi national interest is very different than the Qatari national interest. In fact, Saudi and Qatar almost went to war in 2017 because Saudi believes that Qatar is a state sponsor of terrorism, which Qatar actually is. Qatar plays both sides of the table pretty openly. Qatar obviously hosts an amazingly important American airbase, which I think, frankly, we should shift to Saudi Arabia or UAE, because Qatar also has open dealings with the Muslim Brotherhood. They're the #1 funders in the Middle East of Hamas. They've spent almost $2 billion funding Hamas. They have relationships with the Taliban. They have a very solid relationship with the government of Iran. The Al Thani family in Qatar has expended extraordinary amounts of money in.
But bro, the entrances, everything that he was getting, like all the camels and all that stuff, that was pretty cool. I thought
The
that
United
was kind of
States.
cool.
To understand the graphics that you were showing a little bit earlier, Will, one of the things to understand is that the entire citizenry of Qatar is 2.6 million people. Okay, so when you are comparing the spending of China, over 1 billion people, with the spending of Qatar, 2.6 million people, you have to ask yourself, why is
Dude, that guy's kind of tall. That guy from Qatar, he's pretty tall. Donald Trump's not a short guy.
Qatar spending that amount of money on, say, American universities? And if what they're doing in American universities is subsidizing the kind of radicalism that we've seen at American universities, wouldn't that also be their purpose when they are giving gifts to the...
You see, and then that's what he's talking about, like the funding of these universities. Like Qatar is a big funder of that. They're the ones that are giving the money to have these protests. This is why the people that protest and excuse me, give me 1 second. You guys
Department
continue.
of Defense or to the Trump Presidential Library, or when they are spending an enormous amount of money on a bunch of business dealings that are meant to infiltrate the United States. Qatar, I think, is not to be trusted in the same way as, for example, the Saudi royal family.
Well, that is my last question for you, Ben. I think it's always the question we have to remind ourselves when we are talking to an American audience, but not just that, when we're talking about an ideology, what has taken precedence, which has reached the apex here in America, which is serving America first, American politicians serving America first. And I do wonder, while we celebrate this new partnership, all of this, perhaps reimagining.
And I think more or less what I'm really internally celebrating is we're looking at Pakistan on the brink of war, which we know has also heard that they've received a truce with India. Okay, strikes happening on both sides. We've been looking at the war that's been happening in Ukraine versus Russia now going on 3.5 years. We're always hearing about what's happening over there between Palestine and Hamas in Israel, and it seems like there's a lot of pessimism and no reason to be positive about what's happening in the Middle East. So although I don't claim to be really well educated on all of the political and social dynamics of these individual countries, nor even having heard their names before, it is... I have a feeling and a general impression of like relief and of peace, and that something massively awesome has happened here. And even if it's just theater, but it feels as if we have a lot of reasons to be hopeful when really just a couple of days ago, we had absolutely no reason to be hopeful whatsoever. There was nothing optimistic to be said about the status of the Middle East. And this packaging and this presentation, this particular marketing that's been brought to us by the Trump administration in the past few days, somehow has been able to lift this cloudy, like weather storm or this gloomy perspective that I internally was carrying about the state of the Middle East, and it has painted a lot of hope and a great picture for peace in terms of what's possible. And I love seeing Israel, which I know what the scriptures say about Israel, but I'm not sure about that country in particular. I have a lot of problems with how much we are constantly kissing Israel's butt and how much our foreign policy adds up with them. I love us seeing them coming out of the picture and other people like this being befriended more so, that no one can say that Israel's our best friend at this particular moment. It actually looks as if some of these Islamic countries are really showing us a tremendous amount of love and respect. So we'll just finish up with what Ben was saying there, and
of what's happening in the Middle East. Is there a price? And I think there are critical questions to ask and be careful about here. As we put up on the board here, that's a lot of investment. We're focused on the Qataris here. There's a lot of countries up on that board, from China to UAE. Other countries who have invested a lot in America. And the question is, what are they looking to get out of that beyond economics?
I think that's right. When you're looking at lobbying, that, for example, is a different thing than investment by firms that are located in these various countries. If you're looking at Qatar, Qatar is just the royal family. I mean, the only big moneymakers in Qatar are the royal family. The same thing essentially holds true in Saudi Arabia. These are not countries that are having free-flowing, free enterprise in their own countries, and you have sort of private enterprises investing in the United States, you essentially have royal family backing sovereign wealth funds that are directly investing. And so that's a level of direct control that doesn't apply to some of the other countries that you've talked about.
Yeah. Well, it seems as if we've lost our friend Alex in the meantime while he's in babysitting mode. Yeah, I don't know, Jonathan. I mean, neither one of us are probably, real students of the Middle East, but how do you feel on the hope front in this compared to the despair of a lack of peace in the Middle East, at least with these presentations?
I feel like it's good. I think that I have faith in the president, right? And I know it's kind of scary to say that on this show, because the moment we even mention Trump, people are saying you shouldn't worship or put your faith in. I don't mean it like that. I just mean, like, I have faith that he's gonna do a good job. I know even that's kind of a little controversial in the Christian community, but I do. I think and I could be wrong, but I think that it's positive. I do think that the rules he probably put in place for Qatar, or I'll just use that pronunciation, Qatar. I'm sure that they're very strict in that, hey, if you break this, I'm gonna break you. Like that. I could see that being the case, and they know that that's the kind of guy he is. Like, you don't want to take his kindness for weakness. So I think they know that, even if in their heart of hearts, or even if they have malice in their plans to go, obviously we're not really going to go along with this guy. Like, whatever they might be planning, I'm going to assume and have hope that the president and the leaders around him are one step ahead of whatever the evil leadership of Qatar might want to do, or Qatar might want to do. As far as Israel, of course, I have different feelings. I like our support of Israel, and I think that it's fundamental for the West, because that's where the Bible came from. That's where Jesus walked, and that's where he's going to return. So I know we have a historic connection there. I think that it seems like a good and positive thing that's going on, obviously with the caveat of, very questionable, because Qatar is, like we've said a few times already, a big supporter of terrorism. But I don't think Trump would do this if he didn't think he could have them on, let's just call it, a leash.
Yeah. No, it's definitely weird, and I have some more thoughts on that. But while we're waiting for Alex, let's go to one of to Abby Phillips and Kevin O'Leary on the Abby Phillips show. They were discussing this a little bit, and things with Kevin got a little bit heated.
And what I'm saying is that now they are reaping the benefits of their father.
Different directions.
Please,
just for a moment.
No, guide me. I'm blind.
What does this have to do with Middle East policy? Please, just excuse me.
Oh, yes.
What does this have to do with the fact that he is trying to create a circle of friendship with the fastest growing geographies in the world before China does?
But wait a second.
Wait, let me finish. On this trip, I just want to introduce an idea. This has nothing to do with policy.
Go ahead. I'm locked in.
What does this have to do with policy?
One thing that I've heard for the last 4 or 5 years is anytime anyone had any criticism of the United States foreign policy in Gaza or whatever, is that these people would be being paid by a resource-rich government that propped up and funded terrorism, which was over in Qatar. Every single time. They were buying influence in Ivy League schools. They were buying influence in social media. They were buying influence everywhere. So anytime you saw somebody
you were saying that
anytime somebody was thought to have any dealings with the Qataris, they were thought as being intellectually and morally tainted. Except the President of the United States, who takes a $400 million plane from them, literally is refurbishing it to be Air Force.
Who cares about the plane? What does that have to do with the fact?
Because it's
Wait a second.
You know what?
Shut him up.
I don't get it. Why focus on something that is irrelevant to the policy?
It's not irrelevant.
I just want to pause it for a second. Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, and I kind of had this thought in the very beginning when I heard this, even though on the just my reactionary thought is, oh, that's bad. Like, why would he do that? Stop that. If getting this deal done, if your goal, if you have a big picture in mind, and I'm not gonna pretend, I don't even know how the plane deal went down. I don't know if he asked for it or I don't know. But either way, for the plane to be presented to him, if that to me just seems like an optics thing. It just seems like, okay, like maybe they want to do that because that's what they want to do. They want to send some kind of message. Okay, and look, messaging and optics is important, and you could say that was an optic failure. You could say that. You could make that case, but I see what Kevin is saying, and I think if Trump is playing for a bigger picture, and this is just stuff that's happening in the background, then like it's really just a distraction from what is really gonna come from this deal and what's gonna come out of this situation with Qatar.
Yeah, no, it's definitely honoring of the United States of America, and it's so honoring that it's a little bit weird to see. But I think there's a lot more good that's coming from this than bad, and all these little tidbits and sound bites. Okay, we're aware of, for example, Syria. The president of Syria used to be involved in Al Qaeda. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of very difficult sound bites associated with all of this that's sort of hard to swallow and sort of hard to correlate for me. For example, I'm not the biggest fan of Saudi Arabia. Okay, I want to save this side of the conversation for Alex to get back, but let's just continue here watching Kevin lose it. Who just so I had Kevin was staying at my same storage facility. His storage unit locker was right next to my storage unit locker in Miami, Florida. Yes, so it's a fun little tidbit. Yes,
it is fun.
It's completely irrelevant. How is it irrelevant? Would you rather have the Chinese there? Would you rather have them there?
Kevin, the United States Constitution would like to have a word. The United States Constitution would like to have a word. That's why people care, right?
People care
because the reason that that's in the Constitution is to prevent the president of the United States from accepting things that are being perceived as bribes.
What is the national interest?
The goal of the trip is not to get a giant gift that he can say belongs to him as president, but then he takes with him when he leaves the office.
Abby, you have to distance yourself from Trump derangement syndrome. It's irrelevant to policy. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
what matters is, why are all these AI guys
have you heard of the emoluments clause?
Wait.
And Kevin's right. She does, because what she's doing, she's insinuating the exact opposite of what Trump has already articulated. This is not a gift to Donald Trump. This is a gift to the United States of America. And then Trump's intentions was that he would be able to turn it into a museum when he leaves office. Okay, that little attachment would be up to the next president of the United States to determine what this asset and what would be produced on it. But these vampires on CNN do absolutely suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, and they can't ever even articulate or brainstorm positivity or good when it comes to these type of actions. They're just constantly looking for the negative side of this equation.
Why do
you got to see their faces when he says this, when he calls her that?
You have to distance yourself from Trump derangement syndrome. It's irrelevant to policy. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
what matters is, why are all these AI guys on this trip?
Have you heard of the emoluments clause?
Wait. Why do you have all the leaders?
Kevin, no, seriously, it's a serious question. Have you heard of the emoluments clause? Do you understand that is in the Constitution?
He doesn't.
Have you heard of the emoluments clause? It's like, because this was brought to my attention this morning.
No, and do you understand that even if you think that maybe it might be okay,
how many fairies dance on a pin?
How many fairies dance on a pin?
Incredibly dubious.
Where do you go with
that?
Right?
I'm sorry. Let me just say, Kevin doesn't operate by the same morals and ethics and values that we're talking about.
I'm above that. I focus on
you're
policy.
So rich, you get to be above it.
It's nothing to do with wealth. It's policy, policy.
No, but here's the point about the policy. Let me make one point, fellas. Whew.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about how that lady. The lady was just she needs a higher degree of deodorant, and Trump is starting to get a whiff of her armpits. I mean,
Kevin O'Leary destroys libs with facts and logic. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is just a Abby Phillips clip from the 13th. in which Kevin is defending, all the car activity, the planes, so on and so forth, while the CNN vampires are trying to attack him. And it's just wrapping up.
Someone is willing to take a $400 million plane from a government, the kinds of things that Dan was talking about, people have said, even Ted Cruz had some issues with this. What else is he willing to do?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So, my thoughts on the whole plane, like, I don't think it's smart. I just don't think it's smart. Now, as far as like a big deal, I think for Donald Trump, it's not that big a deal if it was just Donald Trump. However, obviously, we do know that within the Constitution, a executive branch personnel, the executing member, the president, is not supposed to receive gifts from other foreign governments, and unless the House actually votes on that. So, yes, that is true. And maybe Trump just doesn't know or didn't know, and then just, oh, yeah, I'm getting a plane. And then everybody's flipping out now. One thing is, I don't think Donald Trump is going to get bought by these guys. Okay. I think it's more of a gesture for doing business.
Yes.
But I still don't like it. Now, if it was, nobody had any problem with the Biden family receiving money, right, from Ukraine, right? Nobody had any problem with Hunter Biden, the Hunter Biden laptop, right? Mm-hmm. But because it's Donald Trump, obviously it's more polarizing. It's something to talk about, and it's something that they can try to impeach him on, and that's all it is. They're going to try to impeach him.
Deacon Alex, could you talk a little bit about the prophet Balaam, because he was a prophet that was swayed by greed. And, I like what you said. The big problem is, and I think Harold said it too, Harold Lee, shout out Harold Lee in the chat. He said, Harold said, as long as he's not swayed by the gift. Yeah, like, I think being bought out is the real concern here, not the technical rule of being able to accept a plane or not. Trump has all the money in the world. He doesn't need a Qatar plane. But I kind of reminded me of that prophet and his greed problem. Could you speak to that, or is that like fresh on the back burner for you?
Yeah. That's not fresh off the rip right now. So, I do know Balaam, I think that comes from Numbers 24, 25, and 26. I think, but. I'll let you speak on that, brother.
Yeah. So, Balaam, he was offered gifts by Balak, right? Similar names. Wow. King of Moab, to curse Israel. And though Balaam initially refused and blessed Israel instead, his heart was swayed by the prospect of reward. And later, the scriptures talk about how he advised Balak to lead Israel into sin. And eventually his greed killed him. So obviously that's the trap of gifts, or if you have a love of money, a seduction with it. But actually, the more I talk about this, guys, the more I'm like, Trump again is the man who has, and we know Jesus is actually everything, but the man who has materially everything you could ever want, presidential job, you're making way less money. He doesn't need that. I think it's safe to say he's not going to be swayed by gifts, right? He's like a super billionaire. What do you guys think about that before we go on to these red Cybertrucks?
Matt?
I don't know. I'm just contrasting. My opinion on everything is centered on a lot of these thoughts of seeing so much attention and so much like positivity and respect that's been coming out of these Middle East countries really made me be pulled back into the vortex of 9/11. Okay. 9/11, 13 of the 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. Okay. And I haven't spent a lot of time thinking positive thoughts about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or Qatar or anybody over there on that side of the fence, because they've always been extremely it's suspicious to me their level of interactivity with the United States government, including the Bin Laden family being flown outside of the United States starting from September 13th, immediately as flight restrictions, and rumors of happening that while flights were suspended in the United States on September 11th, that they were actually having flights that were getting Saudi nationals outside of the country. So I've always been incredibly suspicious of Al Qaeda. I've always been incredibly suspicious of the relationship between the United States of America and the terrorist organization Al Qaeda, and Saudi Arabia. I never had a palate for opening myself up to their love of us per se. Okay, so I went back to Grok, and I was talking to Grok about how, what is the precedent, what's the history of such a warm reception being shown by United States presidents, and it seems as if that such a warm reception was not shown by Barack Obama, but the last warm reception that we've seen like this was actually under George W. Bush. So I really don't know what to say about the matter, but I am extremely suspicious. I don't want to have that be imbalanced by the fact that, I do want this peace, and I do want this unity, and I want this leverage, and I want this idea that we're so attached to the hip of Israel. I really love the idea that if Trump really is dissing Netanyahu, I love that idea, not because of any dislike of Israel, just because it interferes with this cannon fodder of approval of Israel and us being puppeted by Israel, so on and so forth. But how to now jump ship and then just be totally cool with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Al Qaeda and Syria, it just does not sit well for me. I honestly don't know what to do with any of the subject matter.
Yeah. I hear you.
Oh, Alex disappeared on us again. So I did all that. Okay, wonderful.
No, he's here.
No,
he's here.
Okay. Yeah.
Right
so
here.
what do we do about that? 13 of the 19 hijackers from Saudi Arabia, and this is our best friend. How does that fit into the picture? I don't have any room to be suspicious of that. Am I just a conspiracy nut? Am I supposed to forget about this history? How does that add up with now camels and parades and all of this jazz? That is nothing new under the Trump administration, but it was the same thing happening under Bush.
Look, it's just, I think, first of all, it's not cushy friendship. It's business. These are nations and leaders. I don't think that. I think as a nation, there's people, there's nations that you might actually be close with and have, a relationship with and a history with. And then if you're a world leader, if you're a global power, there's nations that you just do business with, right? And to me, this does not seem like a cushy friendship. This seems just like business. This is pure business. Well, I'm not saying it like it's a fact I don't know, but to me, this seems like pure cold business. And just getting what they need to get done so that they can have a peace, a greater unity. And again, I think part of this unity is to isolate Iran, which would be a good thing.
Yeah, let me, if you don't, not to put you on the spot, brother Jonathan, how old are you?
31.
Okay, you're a little older than I thought, but. So
we're always doing that to Brother Jonathan. We're always doing that.
How old were you at 9/11? How old were you at that time?
10 years old.
Thank you. I'm thank you. Yeah, I need that. So yeah, that.
Okay. So I'm not going to tell you my age, but I remember hearing about all of this that Matt was talking about. Right, the Saudis, they were getting flown out during the flight ban, and it was like, well, why are they getting flown out? Because believe me, everybody was, all the media was like, oh, well, it was Arabs, and then they were, Saudis, and so all of America was like looking at like every single Arab-looking person and suspiciously during that time because we were like, man, we just got quote unquote attacked, and and so, yeah, I do remember that. But I also remember about 10 years before that, my uncle was serving in the Desert Storm War in 1991, right? And he went into Kuwait. He went into Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was, in some sense, an ally during that war. And so, you know, so I don't know exactly the history that, like, were we ever, matter of fact, I was even watching something a little bit that America has influenced. Matter of fact, it was Ben Shapiro, actually, that America has influenced Saudi Arabia since like the 1930s. We're the ones that taught them how to drill their oil. And that, so the way that they're drilling the oil is because of the United States. We've definitely influenced them. So we have had a long history with them. Now, just because there were some bad apples, there's bad apples in every group, right?
13 bad apples. It seems so peculiar.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole country. It's
just weird,
though.
Isn't
13 people.
Well, but that's what they said. They said because of what the innuendo. So first, the first person that brought this Saudi Arabia to our attention was not our friend, but our foe, Michael Moore, in the movie Fahrenheit 9/11. Okay, so you know, but the response and articulation had always been that Saudi Arabia is one of our closest Middle Eastern allies. So then that would be a good place for terrorists to hide because they had access and they had foreign access and they wouldn't have layers of suspicion, right? But then behind the scenes within the conspiratorial community, those relationships that we pointed behind the Saudi family and connections to the Bush administration, so on and so forth, had to do with the oil ties and had to do with business arrangements per se. And that friendship, could it be that Saudi Arabia, countries such as sort of like Qatar, are akin to, as we say, that Ukraine has become a proxy state of the United States, that in as much that Qatar and or Saudi Arabia are proxy states for the United States as well? Could this just be a dramatic form of international theater? I don't know, right? What I do know is that what happened on September 11th was never properly investigated. I know that coming about 2 weeks ago, Tucker Carlson, we aired the clips on the show. Tucker Carlson brought to our attention again how desperately we need a new 9/11 investigation. I know that the release of the John F. Kennedy files going back a month ago now has already become a snoozer. And I want to see a new 9/11 investigation. And in the back of my mind, as much as I see the positivity from all of this, and I'm willing to be hopeful, and I'm really not suspicious of Trump at all, the end conclusion for me is that thanks for reminding me about the 13 of those hijackers being from Saudi Arabia. I want a new 9/11 investigation, and I want to see the Epstein files released as soon as possible. I'm really not into the whole theatrical performances that I think might be kindling here at this moment, because this is a masterful packaging, which I think it's really sold me on hope in the Middle East. I think I'm belaboring my point.
That's okay. Paul Henderson quoted in the chat. He said, "Thank you for your comment." He said, "Gifts have been a thing going back into the very beginning. It's not that much more than just tradition. Jacob sent gifts to his brother. I would even say that King Solomon received gifts from foreign leaders and people that came to visit him. He was getting all kinds of
Statue
gifts.
of Liberty,
France
the
and the Statue of
Freemasons in
Liberty.
France.
Yeah. So, I just more concerned with his personal safety and health, being that he's our president. We need him to do a lot more stuff. He has,
and the optics.
He has another 3.5 more years that he has to serve as president, and we need him in one piece. So that's more of what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about him being swayed by that $400 million jet.
And who are we to second guess this guy? He just won the China trade war. I mean, literally, what has Donald Trump not actually won at in the past 3 months of little, side jockeys like ourselves, perhaps critiquing, even though we're on Team Trump, Team America, Team Restoration of the Constitution. We're on the team that's against the New World Order and the human sacrificing child sacrificers. This guy has not let us down even once. So, why wouldn't I be able to give him extreme, benefit of the doubt in this situation, despite all of my internal wrestling and objections with simple things I think is a little bit, distasteful. I think it's a wonderful gesture, and I I do want to see America be at the forefront of establishing a new world order that isn't controlled by the neoconservatives and is controlled by compassion, peace, and love, and a peacemaking type of new world order instead of a new world order that's attempted to be created by the what did Eisenhower call it? The military-industrial complex.
Have we spoken about this whole thing, being that Trump is in the Middle East? Have we mentioned the whole Israel Netanyahu dilemma that's happening now?
Not
like into that.
We've just been salivating over it. I've just been enjoying us dissing Israel. What hasn't even really happened, but I've just been hoping it's really happening.
Yeah. So, obviously there's, the whole Netanyahu-Israel fiasco that's happening. And there was a Jerusalem Post. I don't know if maybe we can share my screen as I'm looking to bring this up real quick right here. Okay. So there was a Jerusalem Post. Now, it said that Donald Trump is to announce the U.S. recognizes Palestinian state, Gulf diplomatic sources claim. And this would have been the time during this tour that he was going to do that. Okay. But it's interesting, though, that this article is written by Ali Hussein, the media line. And I don't know, just something fishy about that name, Ali Hussein. I don't know if we trust people named Hussein, Saddam Hussein, Barack Hussein. We don't really trust them, right? But listen, this was a post from Ambassador Mike Huckabee. Okay, so this was from his personal Governor X account. Okay, now he has an official Ambassador to Israel account. Okay, but he posted the article, okay, about this from the Jerusalem Post, and he calls out the Jerusalem Post and says Jerusalem Post needs better sources than this unidentified source. He says, my 4-year-old grandson, Teddy, is more reliable, and take it from Teddy. This report is nonsense. At Israel doesn't have a better friend than at POTUS.
That's
so,
funny.
To answer everybody's questions, no, I don't think he's. Now, there was some rumors that within the Netanyahu, he was speaking to who was that guy from that got switched over to the ambassador of the UN. But nonetheless, that there was some people from the Trump administration that was talking to the Netanyahu administration, and they were trying to almost like force Donald Trump to strike Iran. And Donald Trump didn't like being played. This is the rumor. And so Donald Trump is basically dissing Netanyahu now because he was getting played by Netanyahu. And so that's the rumor that's going around.
Rumor.
And Trump's been questioned about this, and he hasn't articulated anything to that effect. But I think it is. I think this is. I think his whole Middle East trip, though, Alex, is an instance of this 5D chess. Because I have heard articulations about how all this would be utilized in order to force Putin to the table, in order to make an agreement by basically, cutting off, using oil, which appears to be his only leverage right now, in order to bring this war to a close.
Look what it's doing. Look what all this is doing. Right? It's singling out Iran. Donald Trump has made a deal with China. Okay, so even China is coming to the table. Okay, so even China's coming to the table. Putin, he's just sitting over there, right, in Russia, and who's his allies? Iran, China, Turkey, right? And even Donald Trump is even now almost, talking about that he knows President Erdogan, right? And that he's friends with him and that he knew him the last time. He's a good guy, whatever. Donald Trump throws around this word like he's a good guy. They're good guys when, he's just rubbing their shoulders.
Right.
He's being respectful, right? He needs to make deals with these guys. He's not going to go around and insulting them and trying to make a deal.
Exactly.
Exactly. So he's trying to sweet talk them.
Yeah.
And he's trying to bring them to the table. Okay. He's being a sweetheart Donald Trump is such a sweetheart. Okay, he's being such a sweetheart, and he's being so nice. Okay, guys. So.
Well, let's see here before we because we've been on the Middle East subject, which is really huge. And Jonathan, were you trying to say something?
Yeah. I just wanted to say, that I do want to highlight, and you guys said it. It is a rumor. I don't know what kind of sources has said that, and it really made me think of, for my VeggieTales lovers out there. I know Deacon Alex is not huge on VeggieTales, but guys, listen to this.
Moi? I'm a rumor weed. I'm a rumor weed. A tiny little story is all I need to make a big mess. I'm a rumor weed.
That's right. A tiny little story, she said, saints of the Lord, is all you need to make a gigantic mess. Yeah, I don't know if I buy that because I would think that when you are going to make a deal with Saudi Arabia, you don't want Israel. It's so contentious. So what would be the smart move would be to not highlight the super duper contentious thing that could sink it could ruin things while you're there. If there's any kind of weird coverage of while he's going to Israel, and for me, it just seems, and I don't know, but when I have to pick between, is he snubbing them or is it because it's better for the deal? It seems like to me that it's better for the deal because, again, it's a super contentious situation. So he goes there, he focuses on the deal and the people of the deal. And of course, we know it's Saudi Arabia. It's people and people in there. Of course, there's people in there that support Palestine and whatnot. But the leaders in the country seem to want to do a deal. And yeah, I think leaving Israel out of it would be a smart idea. So that's kind of my interpretation of the events.
Or maybe even promoting this rumor and leaking it out there yourself and wanting it to proliferate during this week that this dissing of Israel is happening, because it definitely does it makes the environment more copacetic for your ideal. So I agree with you. Maybe this was a strategic leak, fake news from the Trump administration.
Donald Trump believes that commerce is greater than chaos. Okay, he's using commerce as a way to bring peace to the Middle East. Now, I saw Brother Harold put in the comments earlier. Do we think that this could be a leading up into some type of last days peace agreement, right? And I would say that probably it could be. And this is why we just keep our head on a swivel, right? This is why we always just be watchful. I don't think he's the Antichrist. I don't think it's going to come during Trump's lifetime. I think, if anything, it could be later down the line. It could be with the maybe a J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio, whoever gets the next president, or further on down the line. But I think that they're going to get the blueprint. Donald Trump is laying down the blueprint. Commerce is greater than chaos. If you can create commerce, then people would much rather do business than spend money on a war. And that's definitely Donald Trump's forte. He'd rather do business than spend money on a war. And that's what we're seeing happening. And he's bringing people to the table. He's isolating Iran. He's going to isolate Russia, where they're going to have to fold. China's already bent the knee. They've already took off, 115% of the tariffs, bringing it down to 10%. Matter of fact, I even just seen that today Canada just lifted all of their tariffs on the United States. Boom.
Praise God.
Canada.
Yeah. So we're gonna sit here and just question Trump. It's weird stuff with all the Saudi Arabia stuff. Peace is what we want. We want to be friends with the entire world. We want to destabilize the old New World Order cabal that the globalists have established. And, friendship is definitely the way to go. And, hey, what do I even care if we get duped in the process? As weird as it is, that the effort to make peace and have the image and the perception of peace, I think, is paramount at this particular point in time.
You know why we want peace with Saudi Arabia? I'll tell you why we want peace with Saudi Arabia.
Because it kills the
globalists. We want to be friends with them. That too, but because Mount Sinai is over there, I want to go see Mount Sinai, okay? And then I want to go preach the gospel over there, right? Because we're friends now, right? I'm American, right?
That's right.
I'm friends with Donald Trump. You know what I mean?
Go
I live
there,
in the same state with him. I got his phone number. Okay.
You can show up there with your Alberta hat in Saudi Arabia. Go to Mount Sinai with your Alberta
51st state.
51st, man, they would love it. I'm sure they'd love it over there.
All right. Well, there's a lot to get to, but before we move on, so we don't have to come back to the subject matter again.
Hello, everybody. The jet fighters will be surrounding the plane in about 7 minutes. Oh, I heard they threw you out at the press conference.
They tried, but Caroline stopped them.
Caroline said you're lucky. You're lucky. You're really out of control.
How's the trip going so far? Well, I was asking you about your meeting with the Syrian president.
I think it's going well. Great relationships. And now we're meeting with a group that's fantastic. The Emir is a great guy. I know.
Yo, dude, savage.
It's like a dad who it's like a dad who's like, he knows he has this little rambunctious young child, still loves her, to an extent, but he's like, I heard you were a little bit disciplined. Mommy gave you some time out.
He really does have that. Can you play just that initial interaction he has with them? He even greets them like, hello, everybody. Like, hi, kid. Like, just can we run that back real quick?
Hello, everybody. The jet fighters will be surrounding the plane in about 7 minutes.
That's like.
Out at the press conference.
They tried, but Caroline stopped them.
If I was a dad coming back to like address my children and maybe their friends, I'd be like, hey, everybody, like, hey, kids, the jet fighters are going to be surrounding the plane. Oh, Tommy, I heard you got in trouble earlier today. Well, you got to be a little better behaved today. All right. I love it.
Savage, dude. You guys are savage.
And I don't think we really want to listen to this whole thing, really. But the cool thing is about this week is there's so much substance and not a lot of fluff. Where these conversations now that they're going to happen on Air Force One it's just jam packed because there's absolutely so much that's going on. Let's listen to a little bit of it, and then you guys just feel free to press a button when you want to move on.
How's the trip going so far? Well, I was asking you about your meeting with the Syrian
I think
president.
it's going well. Great relationships. And now we're meeting with a group that's fantastic. The Emir is a great guy. I know him all very well. Who are you? You're going to be surrounded by 8 fighters, in about 7 minutes. Then you say, do we need them? And when they say yes, that doesn't make... I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Strong pass. Very strong pass fighter.
He's talking about
the Syrian.
He's talking about Deacon Alex Estrada.
The president.
We all got a strong past.
I spoke with President Erdogan, who I'm very friendly with him.
Erdogan, talking about Turkey.
It's a torn up country.
Do you think Syria will join them?
Okay, yeah, that's enough. It's Middle East. Oh,
yep.
It's nice weather. White House.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful house. It's the most beautiful house you've ever seen.
Well, should we go to some lighter news on the side of Joe Rogan?
Yeah,
Jonathan,
man, that's big, dude.
Jonathan, why don't you introduce this? Why don't you introduce this Joe Rogan clip for us?
Absolutely. So, guys, the press, the papers have been printed. You might have got it on your driveway if you even check that thing anymore. I mean, sometimes when I check the paper on the driveway, it's got like a bunch of gook on it because you don't even know it's there. I'm not reading that paper. But nonetheless, the news is out. Joe Rogan, apologist, Christian apologist, Joseph Rogan, Joe Rogan. This is some interesting stuff, guys. He is getting out there on the world stage. The guy with his last minute endorsement of Donald Trump in the last inning, on the last hour, gave that last endorsement. This man is now, and there's old clips out there that you guys can see of Joe Rogan absolutely going kind of primal on in hatred of Christianity and faith, like very feral in how he would say absolute idiots, morons, fools. And now you have him saying something else. Let's take a look.
I can't buy that.
I'm sticking with Jesus.
Yeah.
We need Jesus.
Whoa.
I think for real. I found a song
Hold on.
from 1970 that's a Jesus song, a pro-Jesus
rewind
song.
it.
And if jams, dude. It's
Why don't you come to Jesus? He's got the answer.
listen to this. No, listen to this. It's good, man. The lyrics are good. Well, space is the ultimate.
This is the new one. Those were earlier clips throughout the past couple of months. This is the new one here from just a couple days ago.
Who the fuck knows? Because
Yeah.
we can only see so far.
oh,
we
sorry.
see so far, but even so far is only so far.
Well, and then they're saying like it's always expanding, which that can't be true because like what is it expanding into? If space is space, you know, if they're
right.
like, oh, it's like blowing up a balloon where everything's okay, but you're blowing up a balloon in a room,
Right.
so what's the room that you're blowing the balloon
Right.
into? And then that's in a bigger room, and then that's in
Right.
this.
And then
Oh,
there's the concept
Jesus.
that it's actually finite. It's not infinite. And it's some sort of donut shape. It like
Lord.
goes back around eventually.
But then who made all that?
Right.
Like, is there a God? Did God make this?
I can't.
Or is God the universe?
Yeah, but then who made God? And then that bothers me.
Right. But
Like,
does
who
it
made
have-
that
but
thing?
Is that a thing that we think that like because we were born and we die, that we have these biological limitations that we attach to the universe itself?
That's a very that's fair. That
Right.
that
Can
we
we
just
pause
see
it for a
things as being
second,
built and
please?
destroyed.
Yeah.
That there's always been something.
And-
Well, wouldn't
Do you not have a button in front of you?
No, it's not working. No, it's not working. And the comments aren't coming in anymore. Matt?
And
Pretty
the
sure that's-
freezer's
I'm pretty-
broken and the washing machine is leaking.
I'm pretty sure that's on your side. Everything's working for me. Is everything working for you, Jonathan? Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah, the pause worked for me. I don't know where the last comment was. The last comment I see is Christ forgiveness comment, new channel alert.
Yep. Feel free to right click
Yep.
on your tabs, or feel free to right click in those sections, and you just did a full refresh.
You hear that, chat? Click on your right.
it be
section.
crazy
No,
if there
just kidding.
wasn't something at one point in time?
He's going.
Hold on,
I
right
can't
here.
buy that.
I'm sticking with Jesus.
Look at that. Look.
Yo,
Look at that.
man.
Look at that, guys. He said, I'm sticking with Jesus. You see, look at the eyebrows.
Now,
He
brother, I want you to. Oh, so go ahead.
We just rewound the whole clip to the very beginning.
I was about to say, I want you to go in on this, Deacon Alex, but they need the context. They need to know when he said that. And then I want you to do exactly what you just did.
Yeah, so they were talking about the Big Bang, number one. They were talking about the Big Bang and how he was talking about, I don't have a pen right here, but if I had a pen right here, he was talking about, they're talking about how the universe, the Big Bang, it was on this little pin, and then all of a sudden, boom, we have everything. He was like, I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I'm sticking with Jesus.
Yeah,
And he
do you
gives you the
want to
eyes.
do you want to play that clip real quick and then tell us
People,
more
you're
about
blowing
the
a
eye?
balloon in a room.
Yeah,
Right.
put
So
it up
what's
on
the
my
room that you're blowing the balloon
right.
into, and then
Share
that's in
screen.
a bigger room, and then that's in
Right.
this.
And then there's
They
the
got it right
concept
now.
that it's actually finite. It's not infinite. And it's some sort of donut shape. It like
Good Lord.
goes back around eventually.
But then who made all that?
Right.
Like, is there a God? Did God make this?
Or is God the universe?
Yeah, but then who made God? And then that bothers me.
Right. But
Like,
does
who
it
made
have-
that thing?
Is that a thing that we think that like because we were born and we die, that we have these biological limitations that we attach to the universe itself?
That's a very that's fair.
Right.
That we see things.
Who is this? Who's the guy with the bandana though? Do you guys know who that is?
Chris Farley.
Nope.
Is being built and
It's not
destroyed.
That there's always been something.
And-
Well, wouldn't it be crazy if there wasn't something at one point in time?
Yeah.
That seems even crazier. Then there
Right.
always has been something. Because if it's just something, if it's just the nature of everything, there is always something, right?
Now, can we also say too, like Joe Rogan has been an enemy of the gospel, enemy of Jesus Christ, would mock believers, mock Christianity, and somehow, some way, well, we know how, because God is the one that does it, but he's been slowly but surely getting Christians on his podcast, talking with Christians, talking about the shroud and people talking about the legitimacy of the Shroud of Turin, right? And how it's not fabricated. And so Joe Rogan is starting to get red pilled, for lack of better terms, right? He's starting to come around.
Right.
It couldn't be nothing, and then all of a sudden everything. That's
Right. See, that's that he knows, right? And that's what the Bible says. The Bible says that although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were they thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were dark.
Because what started that? What kicked that off?
Exactly.
What snapped its fingers? Like
that's McKenna's great line. Terrence McKenna had a great line about the difference between science and religion. Is that science only asks you for one miracle. I want you to believe in one miracle, the Big Bang.
Here we go.
Yeah. That's a good one.
It's a great line.
Yeah.
It's because it really is true.
Yes.
And it's funny because people would be incredulous about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, but yet they're convinced that the entire universe was smaller than the head of a pin, and for no reason than anybody's adequately explained to me that makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Instantaneously became everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't buy that.
I'm sticking with Jesus.
Yeah.
Look at that right there. He's talking about the resurrection. He's like, hey, I'm sticking with the resurrection of Jesus Christ over the Big Bang. He's saying I'd much rather. Now, look, guys, I don't know, but here's where he's at. He's at a crossroads. Because if he's saying he's sticking with Jesus, he's going to have to then, well, look, everybody's responsible to God. That's always a fact. So I'm not saying that, but he's at a very major crossroads in his life. It's either he just has a head knowledge that Jesus is God and resurrected, or he has a change of heart that's coming. Right. And that's what we're praying for Joe. So, Joe, if you ever get a chance to watch this show, Joe, we're talking to you right now. You know it in your mind and in your heart that Jesus died on the cross and that he resurrected from the dead. And if that is true, then his message of the gospel to repent and believe, give your life to him. That's the message. And he died for that message. He rose again for that message that you, Joe Rogan, can be redeemed and you can become a child of God. But you have to repent and believe the gospel. Surrender to it.
Amen.
Guys,
Amen.
What do you guys think of that, man?
Man, it's Matt, you can go because I'm excited. I want to let you go.
Well, this is on the heels of last week we were discussing what Tucker's been bringing to our attention. We got to keep in mind, Joe has his own field of influence, okay? And don't pretend like what Trump thinks and what Tucker Carlson thinks and Russell Brand thinks perhaps doesn't have an impact on him. It most certainly does. And last week they were really diving deep into evolution on Tucker Carlson when he had Weinstein in the show. And I feel like, I feel like you referenced this a little bit earlier in our phone call in terms of the attitude, Alex, of where you think they are in his walk. But I just think that he's starting to realize that what he thought was so smart and what he thought made so much sense actually is so darn stupid. And the more that you get these smart people, like these articulate really brilliant people to articulate such a stupid philosophy. It just makes it sound retarded, like the multiverse. Like it sounds all well and good when you're smoking doobies in your room and
when you're smoking weed.
When you're smoking weed, and when you're it's like more chill, new ager type of people that they use the dramatic music in the background,
like Jesus,
but
like this guy.
But when you
look at that.
Look at him. Look at
this
him.
makes more
he
sense.
Looks like he's smoking weed right now. Okay, those are the guys that are smoking weed, and they're coming to Jesus, but they're smoking weed still, right? And you know how I know? Yeah. You know how I know, Matt? Because I was there, man. I was with those guys smoking weed and thinking, oh man, Jesus is cool, man. These guys are idiots for thinking that everything started from nothing, right? We'd be watching National Geographics, right? And you'd be watching space shows and you'd be seeing the galaxies and the star formations and all this and that. And we'd be toking it up and getting high, be like, yeah, man, Jesus is so cool, But that's where Joe Rogan's at. You see what he's missing? You know what Joe Rogan's missing? The fear of God. But I believe it's coming.
Well, he's obviously missing the reading of the scriptures, the listening to the audio Bible. It wasn't until I started to incorporate the sincere devotion to the scriptures and having realized that the greatest conspiracy on the earth was to persuade me that the scriptures were boring. Okay, he needs to get away from King James land, dive into the NLT, the ESV, the New King James or something, and just get the scriptures being read or being listened to. And this is what enlightens you. This is what brings you to the knowledge of the truth. Because when you're in the conspiratorial way of thinking, you're brushing the surface. You have that itching ears where you're always learning, constantly learning, never coming to the knowledge of the truth. You're never focusing in and you're never zeroing in because you're in an entertainment facade and you're having to deal with that there are aliens, only that they're demons. You're having to deal with who did build the pyramids, okay? You're having to wrestle with, giants on the earth and, 40-foot tall skeletons that they found in Saudi Arabia that they put on National Geographic. And as what happens is you're gathering puzzle pictures and you're trying to build a picture from all these different puzzle pieces and you don't know how many new pieces there are to find. And you basically put together the picture and you build an image with the pieces that you have. But then as you go on, and you start reading the scriptures, you get so many more pieces of the puzzle in order to work with. And it starts to build a crystal clear view that says the New Age people are psychopaths, that they're really leaning to the way that seems right to man, but in the end leads to death. That becomes crystal clear. And just like me, I went head first into everything that everyone knows about Jesus. Duh, I know about Jesus. Why am I going to research Jesus? That's why I had that perspective that I rather talk about conspiracy, rather talk about false flag terrorism, bring things to people's attention that they didn't know. But then after you're into this world for such a long time, you sort of, circle back to really investigating Jesus, and Jesus becomes the cornerstone of all of the knowledge and all of the research that you've done. And it really puts in perspective of the kingdoms of darkness that you've researched, through all of the esoteric means.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But how dare you talk about the King James land? How dare you, the King James, the influence. Now, I actually like the King James, and it's totally good.
No, you
to
don't. You're a liar. No one likes the King James. Everyone says they like the King James. You're just trying to. If you say you like the King James, you're either a liar or you happen to like Shakespeare. Most people who like the King James.
You don't even know.
I do, and you're a liar. Most people like the King James.
Trolling. It's called. We do a little trolling.
I thou loveth it. Yeah, right. No, you don't love it.
You don't even know.
No one loves it. The only reason they do the King James.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Listen. It's okay.
I don't believe you for a second. You like the King James, and no one's going to convince
this is Matt right here. This is Matt.
Emotional damage.
It is true.
Listen, Matt, it's okay. All I was saying was how dare you, and it's super influential. And then I was gonna compliment what you said and say, yes, absolutely, read that. But Matt, the moment I said, like it sounded like I was about to talk positive about the KJ. You flew off the handle, my friend. So let's hang on to the handle.
You said you liked it. That's a stumbling block. It's a
was
rock
part
of
of the bit,
offense
Matt.
to say
It
you
was
like the
part-
King James. I'm not offended, brother.
You hear that, guys?
I just
You hear that, guys? You hear that, guys? You see the foam. Now, guys, we're going to pray for Matt, but we're also going to
manifesting King James.
We're going to promote, guys. We're going to promote something that's positive because this was very, so look to, I don't know if it's my right or your left but look at the shirt that Deacon Alex wears every single day of his life. And he's never changed it, by the way. But look at that shirt very carefully and read what it says. It says, Jesus saves. Hallelujah. We can all agree on this show. We might not agree. Secretly, Matt actually has 10 King James Bibles, but we don't have to talk about that. But we got to talk about this shirt right now. King James, Jesus Saves shirt. Guys, we got to talk about Jesus Save signs.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yes.
I muted it.
Okay, good. Yes, I prefer that. That loop it drives me crazy. Jesus Save signs, guys. Praise the mighty name of Jesus, whom we serve, whom we do this for, whom is the true person who can restore, right? God, this nation all around the world. Well, look no further if you want to support a movement of signs, shirts, bracelets, spirit-filled believers that go by the name of Brent and Bridget. Praise the Lord. So, guys, these signs are awesome. They're all across the nation. Let's get them across the world. I got to tell I love the story. I'm going to tell the same story. And don't worry, I won't tell it every time. But I was in Washington, D.C. I was in Washington, D.C. King James. I was in Washington, D.C. and I saw, it's like, I think if I say that, you're like, yeah. I think if I was walking down the street and I saw one of these Jesus Saves signs. I had lost my church. I didn't even know where my church was. And hold on. We're loud noises. So I'm walking down the street in DC. I'm missing my church. And I'm like, where are these guys? And I look to my right. And what is it? It's a Jesus Save sign that's just like tucked away behind like an orange safety cone. I take it out and I sit down and I'm just holding it, waiting for CFM to arrive. Guys, let's get these signs everywhere. Check it out. And that's all I got to say. There's a lot of great movements out there, but this is just one of them.
I just want to rewind back into an apologist position because there's a lot of King James support in the chat room. And, my perspective on the King James is I was a King James only, as you've heard it before if you watched the show. And because of that, it led me to a lot of falling asleep on my couch, right? And saying I was going to read the scriptures, but never did. I won't get into the whole story, but the way I handle it is, if you do love the King James, God bless you, right? And if you find yourself as a born-again Christian loving the King James, wonderful. When I meet people onto the street, it is a blood-bathed book. My primary concern is that I want them to have the proper expectations for the scriptures. And many people, the only exposure they've had has been their Catholic Bible or their King James Bible. And therefore, they look at the scriptures in a certain way that they think that Harry Potter, and J.K. Rowling's is, more entertaining. So, and that's the same way that same position that I held. But if you do like Shakespeare, like I've seen over 1,000 different off-theater production shows in my theater background, then great. You like Shakespeare, you like that old King's English. I don't understand it. I really can't relate to you the same way I can't relate to a lot of preferences, But the best Bible is the one that you actually read. I find it very peculiar and difficult that when pastors are trying to teach us in America in the year 2025 from a King James Bible, and the thoughts going through my head are often like, all right, if you had just read that same verse in any other translation, I would have understood what you said. But does that not give you opportunity to exposit? Does it not put you in a position where it seems as if now you have something to teach because you read us from something that was ununderstandable to most ears with most words? So I find it very annoying, and I question sometimes people's motive when they're preaching from the King James, when they're teaching from the King James. Because you literally just have to read that in another translation and we'll all understand what you said. So I wonder if it's low-hanging fruit. But if you do like the King James, great, love it. But my goal as the audio Bible evangelist is to get you to read the Bible. But I know it's a blood-bathed book. I love the King James, as a book, as a William Tyndale continuationist history. I just don't love the King James only crowd and the stumbling block that it becomes, if you can't force that book down your throat and everybody's saying, you're not a real Christian if you're not Texas Receptus. So.
Well, nobody said that here.
No, I know, but
Yes.
it does trigger me. It does trigger me. And hey, since we're on that subject, before we move on, and we did a plug for Brent, let's do a plug for godgears.com.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was,
All right, and that is
I like it, bro.
Praise God. That was Sister Eliza.
Check out these unique, beautiful handmade crosses.
We'll mute that. No longer Mother's Day. But these are the beautiful crosses created by Sister Eliza. These are her own creation. Okay. I had zero involvement with the artistic talent behind the coming to being of these crosses. I just helped finance, a large printer farm and getting us what we need in order to get on our feet and do the technical things in the back end. But that is Sister Eliza. So these crosses are created, by a process of manufacturing that she designed on her own. And then she paints them by hand. So you got a 62-year-old woman in the Lord painting these crosses. Right now we've got 3 different varieties. We have our aged bronze, which is that's like when bronze, when it rusts over time, it oxidizes and it sort of gets this blue sort of turquoise feel. And it's become one of the big hits is the bronze, godgears.com. The rust is actually the original. It's the one that I fell in love with that was on her wall when I first had met her, and it's really a beautiful, beautiful variation. Right now, everyone who is placing orders, they keep getting surprises. Brother Cliss placed an order here during the last show, and I know he got his box, and his box might have had, how many crosses were in that box, Cliss? Were you just overwhelmed with the number of boxes, right, that were inside of that cross? How crazy was that? And you could also be a lucky receiver of a jam-packed box full of crosses. I love them, and if you use promo code FAITHTheNation, you actually get 10% off. And we're continuing the Mother's Day free shipping situation. And although we say on the website, that you get 3 free tiny crosses, you actually get a lot more than that right now because the more the merrier. We have a lot of these printed and a lot of these designed, a lot of these pre-painted. We're starting to go to the farmers markets. And you can also pick you up one for $5. $5, you get this little mini guy that's including shipping. Put that in the mail to you. And it's nice on the refrigerator, so on and so forth. And I'm going to be coming down to...
Is that the one you use for Exorcist?
That's the one that we keep in our pocket for when you have a homeless person who approaches you that you don't necessarily want to touch, but you want them to get a touch from the Lord Jesus.
AJV for life.
I'm going to be coming down to Orlando this weekend, I believe. That's what I'm currently working on. So I will be bringing boxes and boxes and boxes of crosses. And we have new products which are on the way. I'll show you one other thing here, not to dominate, but, why not? Matte focus.
Whoa.
This is
matte focus.
Halloween cross. Scary. This one is a prototype. It's not going to be sold. It's the scariest cross I've ever seen in my life. So just so you see that some of our creations will not make it to market. This is a cross that is trying to do like a Star Wars thing. Instead of it became like horrific Halloween. Like, I don't know what this thing is, Sister Eliza, but this one's not going anywhere but the trash bin. So just know that we do have an ethics here at godgears.com that we want to bring you. Crosses inspired by scriptures, not crosses inspired by whatever the heck that thing was. Alrighty. That was a scary cross, was it not, guys? Were you able to see it on camera?
That's a little weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We saw it.
What is this? What is this? No, she tried. I wanted to
I see what she
encourage
was
her.
trying to go for.
She tried, but it's like, what is it? Egyptian weirdness? Like, it's supposed to be like a Star Wars thing, and it's just like, oh! I'm like, she brought it to me. Had me print it, and then she painted it. I'm like, I love you. I want to give you constructive feedback, but this is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I can't stand behind this cross. But these guys here, I can. That's enough cross promotions today. I will tell you, you love these crosses. Godgears.com. I know you're going to fall in love with them. And although CFM hasn't received any donations yet, they do get a proceed from every donation, and I'm just stacking it up because we haven't had that many sales. But there we go. We got a lot more to get into this show. The Joe Rogan conversation, I think, was really important one because it highlights this progression, this growth process that we all have gone through on our way to Christ, perhaps lacking an encounter with Him. Some of us are, blessed are those that have believed yet have not seen. Okay, it took me having seen in order to fully get on board with Jesus. Right, I had enough faith and belief, but I hadn't yet seen. And I always wish that and desire for people to have. Are you guys frozen?
No.
Okay.
In my heart, but not literally.
You looked like mannequins for a moment.
I was just thinking about your KJV hatred, so I was in thought. But go ahead.
Yeah, so what we're designing, what we want is everybody come to the knowledge of the truth by however the Lord designed them. We know that that the preaching of the word is a double-edged sword, but those are really going to come to the belief in Jesus are those that are drawn by the Father. And I do think that we see evidence that not only is Joe Rogan making himself less of an enemy of the gospel, but turning himself more into a person of peace. And we know that is all thanks be to God, because the hostility and the hatred for Christianity and Christian belief systems and morals is the common sense theme of the world, okay? And it's only the foolishness of those who are in God, but we are the foolishness of God and all the laws of God, and not really being too down with homosexuality and too down with a hookup culture seems antithetical to even human nature. Who may wake up every morning with a certain body type of doing some sort of weird things. You might look at yourself in the mirror and say, well, I was designed to be this way. So when we do see people coming around to it, we know that is God at work, and we can't wait to see Joe Rogan with an encounter with God that turns him into the evangelist, the prophet, the brother and sister that we're waiting to see come into fruition. It seems like I hate to do it. No, I'm not going to do it, but Alex disappeared on us again, and that just comes down to Stephanie. Stephanie, I'm not going to do it again. It's low-hanging fruit. I ain't doing it. Jonathan, Jonathan, please.
What?
I'm about to say things.
Guys,
it's only 2 children. It's 2.
Wait. Oh, I got this.
Thank you.
It's 2. Okay, so I don't know. I think we can. He'll be right back. We can move on. I actually have a place I'd like to go. I have something I'd like to show here. If that's okay. He's back. You see?
Was that disappearing act because of Stephanie, or was that because you wanted coffee? You don't have to answer me. Don't answer me. There's not. It's just disgruntledness in that conversation. Jonathan, what were you wanting to get into? We have a few more clips here, but feel free to go to anything that you'd like on your side of the fence. Something loaded up?
Let me share okay, I got the tab up. Let me put this up right here. John's screen. I hope the sound works. By the way, if this doesn't, I did share the tab sound. So if this doesn't work, it ain't my fault. hear it? Can you guys hear it?
Yes.
Guys, so I know it's kind of small, so I apologize. It's a little kind of awkward size, but these are a bunch of students at Liberty University doing praise and worship. It's really amazing. Now, I want to challenge those out there, you know, that have a automatic judgment, automatic skepticism, automatic. Well, guys, that's not Christ-like. You got, first of all, this is a Christian college. This is a Christian college, and you have
the Orthodox community would not like that.
A bunch of people. You got a bunch.
That's a good song, by the way. It's a good song.
The Lord. Yeah, that is a great song. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. So they're jumping around, they're praising the Lord. They're young adults. And man, this is awesome to see, man. I like this kind of news, man. That's a lot of kids. That's a lot of people out there. So I was quite happy to see, and they're all jumping. Man, I'll tell you what, when I'm worshiping God, I will be on my knees praising the Lord. I'll be still, but man, there will be a point where I am jumping for Jesus. I'm dancing for the Lord. So I love it, man. That's amazing. What do you guys think? Have you seen this clip?
Disgusting.
I have not seen it. I love it. You know, I think we need more of it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. You know, the youth praising the Lord. You know, getting down for Jesus like that, man. I think, man, look, that's a little piece of heaven right there, right? That's what we're going to be doing, and so I think that's great, especially on a college campus, especially with everything that's been going on, dude. With Joe Rogan talking about he'll stick with Jesus, right? Like, you know, and you got college kids, young people,
Charlie Kirk out there on his campus tours.
Yeah, dude. Charlie Kirk is doing his thing, right? God is using him mightily.
And showing these numbers, we're not the minority either. You know, it's like it's almost like you want to be in the cool kids club, which is the conservative Jesus club.
Yeah, I even heard that there's a move of God in the UK that's actually happening, right? I mean, maybe we can cover that next week. Maybe we can pull up some information and stuff like that. But I've even heard that the UK is going through some type of like a revival. People are just coming to church in mass, and that's happening all over the world, really, right? It's happening. I think there is a type of revival happening, and we need to be on the forefront, right? We need to be pushing this, and if God is moving, we want to move how God is moving, right? We don't want to get stuck and stagnant in our own ways, and and miss out on what God is doing, right? Pharisees did that; they missed out. We don't want to miss out. So I like it, man.
Hey, and if I could share one more thing, I because you said missing out, so I can't. This is a perfect transition here, guys. Someone that was missing out on something, potentially, allegedly, was the new pope. The new pope may have missed out, ducked out on the rainbow flag. Now, I want to, before I show this, I just want to share this tab first. Hold on one second. Let me share this right here. I'm going to share this right here.
It better be real laughter.
When I posted this on the LGBT, when I posted this on X, by the way, follow our X if you haven't. I didn't even realize I put LGBTW. There's no W. So yeah, just enjoy that. Like that tweet.
The W stands for Wales.
If you go to this and follow us, let us know what the W stands for, or just let us know in the comments. So let's check out the
whining.
LGBTW.
Wah.
Here we go. Yeah, probably whining. So here we go. So the news: Pope Leo XIV saw a rainbow. I know that's his number. Saw a rainbow flag and ignored it. Now, let's see. So let's check it out. Here we go. before you brothers jump in, I just want to point out that someone could say, hey, he wasn't looking. He didn't see it. You can't see what you can't snub what you don't see. But watch, at the very beginning, you see he looks ahead. He looks ahead at the very beginning. And if I wanted to ignore something without having to look
hell
at it,
no.
You would look ahead, and then you would make sure you're looking this way. So check.
Oh, heaven
check it out.
no.
Check out. Yeah. Oh, heaven no. Check out the beginning of the video. Watch him look ahead. Look. Right there.
Right
look,
there. Oh.
He's looking right in the direction. Look at his eyes. His eyes are fixated. Matter of fact, it looks like he's even squinting. Like, I can see it. He says. I can see him saying that. He's mouthing that. We got to get the people that interpret the mouth reading. We can see that. Now look, he can see it. Boom, he sees it. Oh, and he goes, okay, I got to look to my right and keep looking to my right, keep looking to my right, keep looking to my right.
Homie, don't play that.
Right. Oh, and then look, he goes back. He goes back at the very end. He turns. Wait, look right there. He turns back. So it's perfect timing, guys. Is this what it looks like, or what do you guys think?
He wipes the sweat off of his brow.
Yeah, he's definitely dissing the flag, man. He's definitely dissing it.
Brother Matt?
I don't know. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that as well, and I mean, he's dissing it. I don't know. I'm not really inclined to talk positivity about the, Catholicism and such. But hey, let's go with it. Let's hope so. Love hopes all things, right? So let's hope that was going on. I think I way I answer these things, gun to my head. If I get the question right, then I live. If I don't get the question right, then I die. Gun to my head. He intentionally avoided it. In terms of what that actually means about his, his sincerity of his heart and everything, I don't really know. I will say this: I was watching an Orthodox video earlier because I have ortho bros that are always trying to get my attention, and so in reference to that last clip that we were playing, all I know is that the Orthodox community does not like the way that the Protestant, the Charismatic, the Pentecostal world worships. They think that it's all full of emotions, and really, I really don't like the way that they worship, man. We want to keep our back to the crowd, to the audience, face the east. I just don't understand how these ortho bros work and how that could be the way that it is, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. And I'm really sick of Jay Dyer, too, who I sort of know, and I'd love to get him on the program. I did a podcast with my friend Luke and him about a year ago, and then we went out to dinner afterwards. But, Jay has had a lot to say about the Pentecostal charismatic community. And we know that we're under attack right now from the Reuters report and from all angles, not just from Dr. Michael Brown. So, Jonathan, what are you saying?
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I think I know how to solve this worship issue. We got to do a worship off. Our people, their people, one room. We show up kind of like, they do the dance offs and, you just do the thing and we'll see who comes out of there. Well, that's all I'll say. We'll see who worships. That's my. Go ahead, Brother Deacon. I'm sorry.
Get on your face.
That's okay.
Prostrate.
Yeah. So you guys were talking about the Pope, though, man. Did you guys know the Pope's brother lives in Florida? Did you guys know that?
No, I didn't know that.
And the Pope's brother is based.
What?
Let me share my screen real quick. Hey, put it on real quick. I can't find it. Put it on. Just put it on, bro. Put it on, bro. Check this out. Okay, so the Pope's brother, man, is absolutely based. He says this was actually from Lou Prevost. That's
Lou Prevost?
Pope Leo's brother. Okay, and he's posting from BR Podcast Network. Your child isn't trans. Oh man, never mind. My bad. Let me just sorry about that. But anyways, there's some other, sorry, I didn't know they had a bad word on there, but there's some old post of Lou Provost talking about Donald Trump, promoting Donald Trump and talking about I'll have to look to see if I can find some of his posts, but he was I saw this video where he was talking about how the globalists were trying to kill him. That's why they're trying to kill him, because he knows everything, right? Because he's going to come out and he's going to do all this and that. So the Pope's brother is definitely MAGA. He's definitely, man. So
you know what that
I think
means,
it runs
man.
in the family. I think it's running in the family, dude. I think the new Pope, he's going to make Catholics great again.
We got to get the brother on here, man. Let's get the brother.
They still need to repent. Stop praying to Mary. That's what they need to do. Sorry,
yes.
We're not praying to Mary, brother. We're just asking Mary to pray on our behalf, okay?
But my question for that would be, how do you access that? How do you ask? You have to hop on the prayer line. You have to do something that's supernatural to reach those people. But I digress. Brother Deacon, we gotta maybe have the Pope's brother on here. Faith the Nation interview, MAGA, Florida, at the headquarters. God Gears. Wait, Gospel Gears? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, man.
God Gears. Correct me,
God
Brother
Gears.
Matt, please.
God Gears.
Okay.
God Gears.
Okay, I said it right the first time. Okay. So, yeah, guys. Man, let's get that. What's that guy's name?
I've lost my remote control from my air conditioning remote control, Phil.
What is the Pope's brother's name?
Lou Prevost.
Lou Prevost.
Lou
man.
Angle.
All right, man.
Prevost.
Lou, if you're watching this, Lou, reach out to one of us, and brother, we'd love to do an interview, man. We'd love to do an interview. Faith the Nation. Faith the Nation. Faith the Nation. Check us out. Reach out.
Well, Jonathan, did you have anything else, or did you have anything else lighthearted in this department? Because we love these things that you bring to the show. The show, the little news updates of Christ appearing here and there.
Yes. I thought there might be one more thing. No, I don't think I have anything. So go ahead.
Okay, so I got one.
Hold on.
Hang on,
dude. Check this. Dude, check this out. This is also from Lou right here. Check this out. I'm sharing my screen. He said, "For my upset, crying, and left-leaning friends and others suffering from TDS, this service seems right for you. Are you distraught after the Trump win?"
Oh wow,
dude. Dude, that's the Pope's brother. This dude is MAGA. And he's drinking lib tears.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Man, no, man. You got a point. You got a point there. He does indeed. He might have the Tumblr from the Daily Wire, the leftist tears Tumblr.
Oh man. Okay,
Wow.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
That man a Tumblr.
Sorry, that was funny. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry, I'm done.
Well, since we're on this front, let's see. Rob Schneider, liberal friend of the Adam Sandler community. Always had a great feeling about him. He's got a number of different comedy specials, been very outspoken in support of Trump. He's also very outspoken in support of our Lord Jesus Christ. So we have a little clip of him on a podcast this last couple of days.
He might.
But I love the guy.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have, if we're gonna win, it's gotta be through love. If you have to talk about what Christianity means, with the apostles, they said, well, how could you sum up Christianity? And he said, 2 words, what? Love others. It didn't say love people who agree with us, love people in the same party, love people the same skin color, love people the same religion. Love others. We're going to have to love our enemy. And that's what the thing was so beautiful about Christ and Christianity. It's like, the first of you will be the last of you. It's like, what? Yeah. Hey, we're gonna have to love everybody, and you're gonna. And if we're gonna, if Jesus is gonna come into our life, and if you're going to be, we need to be a reflection of Christ's love, which is love. It's not hate. It's not like, and then sometimes, we get angry. Sometimes, like, we're gonna have to look at love, and we're gonna have to, like, what do we need to do? We need to also start our own entertainment. As podcasts have grown, I'm starting my own company here in Arizona. We're going to do our own studio here. And we're not just going to be, just a conservative view. We're going to be here for everybody. But we're going to have traditional American Christian values. Yeah. For sure. And it's I hope people want to come support it. It's
we beat you to it, Rob.
My foundation.
Just join the show,
you can
Rob.
Do it.
Join
Surprise.
Faith the
you can
Nation,
do it,
Rob.
If people want to participate.
Please.
And we're gonna do it, and it's gonna have to be through love. We're gonna have to make our own content. And as podcasts,
I love you to join the show, Rob. Please.
Rob. Okay, Rob. It's nothing new, Rob. We're already doing it, man. Just join the show, bro. Come on over. We got you.
The modern media menace, who did it to themselves. You lied to us, you abused us, you called us names, and now we no longer recognize you as news. We recognize you for what you are, propaganda. So the same way that had podcasts have grown.
Man, the way he said that, man, he said that with conviction, man. He said that.
Recognize you as Satan.
He said that. He said that, man. Wow.
As Elon Musk says, we are the media. The same way we will be the movie studios. It's going to take a while. But we will have to be, I want my company to be Disney. Yes. And Disney, that's a good thing about like what happened with Snow White. And I will say this, because you worked for Disney, and I'd like to talk about that for a little bit, because...
Oh.
She's like, please, she's like, please don't, they're watching. The red dots on it.
Yeah. I can't, end the show. Sorry, we interrupt this certain normal service to bring to you news. Sorry.
They got the cane. The cane is coming to pull her off.
I want to defend Rachel Ziegler.
What? Wait, is that the one who played Snow White?
Yes.
What? You want to what?
How dare Disney blame, again, it's always blaming a woman. It's always women's fault. Like, you did this, you bit the apple, you did that, you did, as if Adam had, I didn't do it. And she did it, and then she handed it to me. Wasn't supposed to say no. So here they do it again. They're blaming women again. They're blaming, Disney's blaming their multi-billion-dollar company, the biggest entertainment company in the history of the world, blaming a young woman. Rachel Ziegler, maybe, yeah, she was arrogant, for sure. But I'm sorry, she didn't write the movie. You can't blame Disney. You can't blame Rachel Ziegler for writing the movie. You can't blame her for casting it, because it was miscast, obviously, according to looking at that. And then you didn't blame her for making AI dwarfs. Can you imagine a real small, short person? Well, I can say dwarf. I can say dwarf. I practically qualify. Can you imagine it being a dwarf? Like, oh, thank God they're doing a Snow White. At least finally I'll get some work again. Here we go. I can audition.
I thought he was cool. He's boring.
What? What do you mean? What do you mean?
He is cool.
You mean right now?
He's doing more of a service for the body of Christ than a lot of other people. So, no, he's definitely part of the mass awakening of the hearts and minds, and his heart's in the right place. And you
all right,
can
Rob.
do
All right.
Rob.
Long suffering. All right. Long suffering.
Yeah,
I'll suffer
man,
long.
He seems pretty animated. Now, man, what? Right when he said
has
that,
something to lose.
I almost tripped out, because when he said, I'm glad he qualified the statement, because he's right that they didn't. She didn't cast the movie. She didn't write them. Like, so yeah, that's definitely on Disney. But man, I don't think you can underplay. I wouldn't say the role in the movie, like taking over, but it's like, man, she was really on the red carpet. Like, it's really good that there's not a man saving the woman, because that's stupid. Like, that's gross. And it's like, man, that's what you're gonna say, like, as the lead. Wow, that's tough. So, yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I don't know if I've ever heard your takes on these. What do you think? Did she what role? How much did she play in the tanking of this movie? Because it did tank.
I don't know.
What do you think
What-
we are,
what is it?
worldly people? You think we're watching Snow White, Jonathan? Or we keep up with the Kardashians? We have no idea what he's talking about. No, I think that, she was outspoken, and she's TikTok. She was really annoying. She's really pompous. And her statements that she had made basically turned off a lot of people. The movie itself, though, was a woke mess, right, is what I had heard. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it, haven't heard about it. So I think that probably is accurate. But I just love Rob's heart. I love his sense of humor. And I feel like comedians always have had the best way of dealing with sensitive subjects like this. But, to bring in Christ and lead people towards Christ in this regard, this is no small thing to me. I think it's huge.
No, that's true.
Absolutely
pretty cool.
huge. And
Yeah.
it's going to have,
No, that's cool.
it's just like, what's that, Matthew McConaughey, right? It's like, I don't care what little bits you do. You guys are taking risks. What do I have to lose by talking about Jesus? Not that much. What do they have to lose? A whole lot, right? So the
Yeah.
type of persecution they're receiving is akin to the type of persecution I would think in the Bible. In a lot of ways, the risk that they're taking, is far greater than any risk I do going onto a street corner or coming onto a show like this. So mad props to those guys. Thank you, Jesus, for we need that, and we got to remember to be friends with our enemies and to love one another. And that's something when a New Ager says it that you roll your eyes. But when a Christian who's aware of the temperature and the environment that we're living in today says it, such as him, it's something that is esteemed wisdom that I want to listen to and also practice.
Yeah, I had no idea that was happening, that he was doing that. So I really love that you brought that up. I appreciate that. That is in the same kind of vein as the Liberty University praising. Like that's good news, man. I mean, he sounded sincere, and all praise the Lord. I hope that he does establish that studio and that he does exactly what he says. He's going to promote Christian values, conservative American values, which really they're synonymous because of the history. If you're promoting traditional American values, you are inherently promoting Christian values. And then he emphasized it on top of that and said Christian. So amen to that.
Amen. And maybe as we're wrapping up here, let's as we begin to talk about China, we find an Easter egg within this footage that gives us a little indicator of the type of snacks that Donald Trump is into. Feel free to stop this at any point in time too.
Saturday. On Monday, you're announcing a trade, or actually on Sunday, you announced a deal with China.
Yeah.
How did that happen that quickly?
Well, they met on Saturday and Sunday, and they had a deal pretty much from the beginning. It was the concept of a deal. And, one of the things that, as you know, it's sort of a 90-day deal as we negotiate other aspects. But one of the things I think that could be most exciting for us and also for China.
Oh, all right. Yes. So first of all, I'm glad that he's diverse with his grapes, because you can't just have the red or the green. You need both, because there's a nice blend. The green ones are kind of tart and the red ones have that nice richness. I think that's Schneider's. Is that Schneider's pretzels? And then you got the Ruffles. Now,
Ruffles have richness. Those are my go-to. Those are my favorite potato chips. Is Ruffles as well. Even though I don't eat potato chips. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I hope you don't eat a potato. Listen, this is tough though, Mr. President. I don't know. His body must be like preserved somehow in like all the salt and vinegar that he's eaten, because this stuff, Mr. President, this is not. RFK is crying right now, Mr. President. When you look,
he's got the grapes.
When you look, he does have the grapes, but it's like putting poo in your green smoothie. Like, you're gonna eat the grapes and then you're gonna eat your Ruffles. Come on, Mr. President.
Donald Trump would love to eat at Golden Corral with us. Okay.
You know what's sad? He probably would.
He would love to come to Orlando and eat the Golden Corral. It's got good turnover ratio.
He probably would. And basically,
and you know what? And Jonathan, you know what? You're going to be standing outside. You're going to be like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Honey,
I won't.
I just want to go in there and eat with them. Can I just go in there and eat with them, please?
Oh, man. I might feel that way if he was there, but I know in my heart of hearts that food that he has in that plane that's Golden Corral junk food. Now he has to stop if he wants to live, but he has lived this long while eating cheeseburgers every single day. So we'll have to see what happens. I do like that Matt is pointing this out. I think it's very important for our viewers. And, you see there's a phone right there next to the snacks. I think he should pick up the phone and call Whole Foods and get something better.
It's just funny that this is actually what captured my attention. There's so much good news and positive stuff happening, but my attention goes towards the Ruffles. Ruffles have ridges.
Not the Ruffles, man.
Oh, you guys did hear about that. He also signed that executive order that cut the cost of prescription drugs.
In the same conversation right now, he gets into that as well. Yeah.
Does he?
Oh, okay.
Let's press play.
You want to continue? Feel free to interrupt at any
We're
time.
trying to open up China because, as you know, many years ago we opened up the USA. Now it's time for China to open up, and that's part of our deal. And we're going to open up China.
Listen,
China.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
To me, that's the most exciting.
Open up China. Like we open up a bag of potato chips.
So the thing about China, though, I really think that, because there was this whole facade about who wanted to come to the table first. Was it China? Did the Americans blink first? Did Donald Trump blink first? At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, right? Because what is Donald Trump? Is Donald Trump accomplishing what he wants to accomplish? And the answer is yes. Okay, whether or not Donald Trump was feeling the pressure a little bit because of the stock market, because of inflation, whatever, like that doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is that he got China to the table. They made a deal to drop their tariffs for 90 days. Okay, America still has 30% tariffs on China. China has 10% tariffs on the United States. At the end of the day,
win.
It's a win. It's a win. Yeah. And what is he doing? He is restructuring the entire trade of the world, which America is the focus because, unfortunately, we are the consumers of the world, right? We consume more products and more things than anybody else in the world. And everybody right now needs the United States. They want to do business in the United States because we buy so much stuff. It's unfortunate. It's almost like we're covetous, but nonetheless, China's come to the table. It's a win-win-win for the United States. Like these are all W's, and the liberal left, the mainstream media, is all up in tears because of all the W's from Donald Trump. They have to nitpick and try. Oh, he's getting a gift from Qatar, right? Again, I don't agree with it, but these are all wins. Right.
And it's almost like he's setting them up to talk crap, because like they have like there's weeks of interlude in between where people like ourselves and others are like critiquing him. Right. And then here he comes with a slam dunk at the end. And it's like he almost like made them talk more ridiculousness only to prove them wrong. So, I don't know. Maybe this art of the deal thing is a bigger thing than I actually thought it was because this guy is winning. And it's not just a soundbite.
Part. But yeah, we made a deal. The relationship is very good. I've always had a good relationship with President Xi. It was interesting.
Here comes the sweet talk, right? Here comes the sweet talk. He's buttering him up now.
Interrupted because of COVID, obviously. But outside of that, I've always had a great relationship, a lot of respect for him. And we'll see how that all works out. But we have the confines of a very, very strong deal with China. But the most exciting part of the deal, it was mentioned, but we don't talk about it yet. That's the opening up of China to U.S. business. And
I want to point out, too, that not everybody, but the libs made fun of him when he said a concept of a deal. But now, look, all of his concepts of a deal are coming to reality. And really, it was just a figure of speech. And it makes sense. It's like, yeah, we have plans of how we're going to get it done. But look at this. It looks like, I think the hashtag at the end of all these deals is going to be concept of a deal. I guess that's a good thing. I guess concept of a deal is actually a positive
That would
thing.
be like opening up a whole new world, and I think it would be even better for China. So I think we'll be able to make that deal, I hope.
At any point, do you foresee yourself dealing directly with President Xi on the final details of this deal?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I'm not sure that it'll be necessary, but that happened with the UK. We were close to a deal, but we needed 1 point or 2 points on pork and ethanol, okay, two very different subjects. And I called up the Prime Minister.
Now, another thing about the UK deal and the China deal, right, is now like all the other countries are going to want a deal, right? Deals are happening. He's making deals in the United Arabs, Emirates, all of it in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia. He's making a lot of deals right now, and guess what? Everybody else is going to start wanting the deal, right? They're not going to want to come to the table last. And so I think we're going to start seeing deals even from like India, Vietnam, Japan, and a lot of these other countries, even the EU. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more deals coming in very, very soon in the next week or two. Cue that.
Deal. It was a good deal for everybody. And we have a lot of deals now. We have a lot of trade deals that I'd say virtually everybody wants to make a deal.
When I first saw you, and thank you for letting us cover this and report on this from Air Force One. When I first saw you, I think you were more excited. You were excited about the China deal, but prescription.
Guys, I've thought about this. And maybe you know, Alex. What is the art of the deal?
So I think there's two main points. I've never read the book, but from hearing people talk about it, and so I think this is what, and I'm sure we can ask Grok really quick. What is the basic art of the deal? But yeah, main points. But I think there's like two main points. Number one is leverage. Creating leverage, putting yourself with all the leverage. And then number two, be willing to walk away from a deal, right? The ability to walk away from a deal when you have the leverage is now going to entice the other person to come back. And when they come back and when they come after you, now you know you have them.
Yeah. It says here that it says that the key principles are thinking big, right? Which is something we discussed as a possible reason for all this of what we're seeing with Qatar. Thinking big, leveraging knowledge, being persistent, maintaining flexibility, and using strategic tactics to gain an advantage in negotiations. It says, it highlights his mindset of confidence, opportunism, and calculated risk taking to achieve favorable outcomes. Okay. Because, brother, I was going to ask you, right? Because sometimes we see the world's wisdom, but as Christians, we discard that ultimately, even if there is a pragmatist way of things working, right? We know that pragmatism does not equal biblical views. So, what, as far as deal making, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. So if not, that's okay. But is there anything as Christians that we should be, considering when trying to make deals? Because it could get very selfish.
Yeah, well, obviously, I think honesty is above all. I mean, I've been in sales my whole life, and I've been a believer. I was non-believer in sales. You definitely want to be able to sleep at night. You don't want to be a liar. You want to be able to gain trust, build relationships. I think those are all things when making a deal. And look, I would even say this, and actually, you know what? At my job, they actually made me do a small presentation on trust and building trust. And I'm just going to go over that really quick here. Let me just pull up my notes. I have it here. Let's see. And maybe I do, maybe I don't. But here's the points, okay? Maybe I don't have them here. That's fine. Yeah, why establishing trust is important, okay? We want to establish trust because without building trust, nobody's going to do business with you. And if you can gain someone's trust, now they're going to be open to doing business. And I think we're seeing that throughout the whole world right now with Donald Trump. People are trusting him. Why? Because he's not number one, he's not a neocon. He's not just pushing the red button just because he can. Saudi is trusting him. And unfortunately, Qatar, we'll see how that goes. These are all risky moves, though. And in some way, Donald Trump is extending out an olive branch to some of these people. And so he's building trust. They're gaining trust with him, right? And because nobody's going to give you money if they don't trust you. If I go try to sell a roof, to a homeowner, they're not just going to hand me a $10,000 check to get started on the roof if they don't trust me, right? So trust is definitely important. Last thing I'll say about this is it is okay to earn a profit. Okay. It's not okay to rip somebody off, but it's okay to earn a profit. It's okay to negotiate. God negotiated with Abraham. We can see that in Genesis. Okay. God negotiated with Abraham. Kings negotiated. Presidents negotiate. Everybody negotiates. It's okay to negotiate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Thank you for sharing that.
I think when I look at myself, it's like I was just having a conversation like this the other day, but it was basically like, I'm not the guy that you send down to in New York City where you're going to go haggle, like a flea market, or like you're going to go buy this bag over in Chinatown. I'm really not good at negotiating. What I'm really good at is transparency and this type of stuff. And I'm a big fan of humor and transparency and vulnerability, but none of those skill sets really help me all that much in reality when I'm trying to get a good deal. I'm always very tempted just to lay out all my cards and let my honesty and my transparency do the negotiation for me. But it doesn't usually work out that way for me. And I literally have friends of mine who I know are better at negotiating that I bring along with me when I want to haggle. If I'm going to buy a house or a car or something like that, I literally want to bring someone else besides me. And everybody knows that I was just negotiating with to buy a van, and the things that were coming out of my mouth, it's just like, do you want to get a deal, Matt? Do you even know how to get a deal? It's, so Donald Trump obviously has that skill set. And when it comes to discerning the members of the body and using them for the skill that they have, I'm so happy that I've given him benefit of doubt this entire time. And he's just proven himself to be, a good steward of that particular skill. And at this point in time, I don't know how much I'm going to be doubting him moving forward into the future. Not that he's going to secure every deal, that he's going to be right every time, but that this is the right approach. And we do have the right man for the job. And that man for the job is not Matt Lepasic.
Yeah, well, I'd hire you, Brother Matt. I would definitely hire you to just make all the deals in the country. You could make a giant, like they have in Brazil. You could have the giant gospel gears cross, and that would be like a tourist attraction. It would be like 100 stories tall. You could ride the gears to get to the top. Come on, that'd be pretty cool. I
get really nervous, man. I really don't like. I don't know what it is. I get anxious. And I don't have confidence also in my ability to negotiate, But I love just TMI, too much information. And I sort of make people get uncomfortable. I was at the grocery store the other day, and she just asked, I don't want to get into it, but the people ask me a question, the way that I feel them out where they want to hear more is I'm just way too much information. It's bro, I just asked you if you're ready for Mother's Day, and you just gave me a 15-minute speech. And that's sort of how I gauge whether they want to hear more of what I have to say. And I know if they come back in after me weirding them out with TMI, that they really do want to engage with me. And that's the way I like to do things. But it doesn't really work that well when you're, it works for like evangelizing. It works for making friends. It works for knowing where you stand with people and stuff. But it doesn't work for making deals. I've seen it over and over and over again. Like my friend Robbie, he's really good at making deals. You know what I mean? It's like, Rob, you're coming with me. Come with me. I need you today. I got to go get a deal on this thing. And I get super anxiety trying to negotiate. So
everybody needs a Rob in their life.
Yeah. Well, do we want to continue because he's gonna get more into the pharmaceutical stuff, but this is a unedited clip on Sean Hannity, and we will get more close up of Ruffles and the Schneider sausages or whatever those things are.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Drugs, which has been very, very painful for a lot of Americans. 80% of medications are created in America, and then we end up paying more for those medications. Foreign countries do not pay as much as we do. You said that is over. Can you explain why this is such a big deal?
Well, for many years, we were taken advantage of by other countries and the drug companies, but I blame the other countries in a way more, the European Union, etc. They were very nasty and very tough to the drug companies, and they would give them a very low price for drug costs in the European nations. And when that price was given, that was it. They wouldn't negotiate. They said, let America pay for the difference.
You hear what's happening here? You hear what's happening is that Donald Trump is recognizing the fleecing of America through pharmaceutical companies for charging Americans double, triple, quadruple even for prescription drugs. And yet the same companies, the same drug makers, the same drugs, the same exact ones that would be sold to other countries like Europe, the EU, Britain, and all over the world, they would sell those drugs at a much cheaper rate. But yet the Americans would pay an astronomical amount more. Why? Well, because we were subsidizing other countries for their drugs. We were paying that they can get their drugs at a much cheaper cost. Well, why does the Americans, if we're making the drugs, why do we have to pay more? Right? And so
it's a scam. It's a ripoff.
Yeah, and
insulting.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say it's like these pharmaceutical companies were in cahoots with the politicians to get paid, and Donald Trump is saying no. You don't think that the globalists are upset that their scam is now over, right?
Well, he actually says later
not in America first. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was saying I don't know if it's in this clip, but he actually said later that like when he was talking with the pharmaceutical companies, they weren't upset with him. They're like, yeah, we do think it's time. It's like, yeah? You've been ripping me off for 10 years? You kidding me?
Yeah,
like, you get angry in business like that because that's like usury. Like you said, it's okay to make a profit, but when you find out that someone's been making 15 times the amount of profit than you thought they were, it's like, what? I can go to like Turkey and get that thing for 15 cents. It's crazy.
Yeah. Dude, did you see the clip? Did you see the clip? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, brother Jonathan. Go ahead.
I just wanted to just quick. She said, my bestie, Elon 2026 said, my bestie once told me when negotiating, back down. The guy needs to eat. You guys know what that means? Like, she means like he needs to eat. He needs to make some money. He needs to live. You're gonna take food off the man's plate. That's a good one, Elon. That must have been a
Did
good
you guys
memory.
see that? Did you guys see that clip of Donald Trump when he was talking about how he signed the executive order? He was talking about how he had this friend of his who is a fat guy, and he wasn't going to name his name. He's like, I'm not going to name his name, but he's a fat guy, and he was taking this fat drug.
Fat Rick.
And he was taking Fat Rick. Yeah, he was taking this fat drug. But it didn't work, did it?
No, he said, man.
I don't think it's working.
I don't think it's working.
Yeah, we gotta find that clip, man. We gotta find that clip, dude. It was
Fat
and he's looking over at RFK. He was like, "Oh, it didn't work."
And now every time I talk to him, his nose is always bleeding.
Man, Man.
Oh man.
One eye is bigger than the other.
This happened all over the world with other countries, and we had stupid people leading us, and especially over the last 4 years, and they wouldn't do anything about it. And it turned out that we were paying, and sometimes you saw 10 times more for the same drug. Same drug, same company, same plant where they make it, laboratory.
And if you remember, didn't he actually accomplish this at the end of his last administration? And wasn't it literally reversed he literally accomplished this in 2020, and then this Biden's didn't either initialize it, didn't let it happen, though? Am I correct in that? I believe so. I am correct.
Hey, if you share my screen real quick. Share my screen. Share my screen. Let me know when it's up.
Sure.
It's up.
We're not like you. We act in 2 seconds.
All right.
Seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up, and he said, President. He used to call me Donald. Now he calls me President. So that's nice.
Dude, he's just so unfiltered, bro.
He said he takes
the fat shot.
Said it, bro. But the way that he said it, it wasn't even like it was an insult. He said it in a matter-of-fact tone of voice. He said he takes the fat shot. Like, he said he takes the fat shot. Wow. Man.
Yeah, he takes the fat shot.
He's a rough guy.
Yeah, come on, man. That's wild.
Smart guy. Very successful. Very rich.
Very fat.
I wouldn't even know how he would know this, but because he's got comments. President, could I ask you a question? What?
He's got London. Moles. Nasty
and I
moles.
just paid for this. Paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said it's not working.
It's not working.
He said, I just paid $88, and in New York I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on?
Oh man. Anyways, it's not working.
Anymore. The pharmaceutical industry is very powerful, and probably the most powerful, considered the most powerful lobby. And the Democrats were making it impossible to lower drug prices. They knew what they were doing. And I instituted a most favored nations provision or concept where we're going to pay whatever the lowest country pays in the world. So if it's...
that right there, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's another win, right? These are wins, bro. Yeah. Like, who's against that? Who's against that? Like,
the Democrats.
What do you have against him that he's doing? Anyways, I digress.
He's not worshiping Satan. He needs to worship the devil. He needs to sacrifice our children on the altar of the LGBTQ mob.
Yeah. Hey, well, speaking of that movement, I'm going to share this real quick because they're trying. They're trying out there. This advertisement just came out. Let's check it out.
I have that queued up here in full, ready.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let's do that. Yeah. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, thank you for your patience. Please welcome God.
Okay, that's not necessary. Thank you.
Well, so you're probably wondering why I called you here.
As you know, in the beginning, I created heaven and earth. But then you guys got pretty good at making stuff, too. I mean, man, who's got 2 thumbs and mutual respect for humanity? This deity. So Papa's popping out to take it all in. Oh, my me.
Come on, people. You're amazing. You are all powerful.
Oh, it's like she knows me.
So real. That was real. I mean, after all, with AutoDesk, you can make anything, which means I get to enjoy everything. Nope. Ah, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, so I saw that, and the first thing that I thought was, man, this encourages me. This encourages me to keep reading, to keep pressing into the Lord so that I can be ready to be a trumpet, to voice my faith, so that the culture, the world, the people know that that the Lord is not going to be mocked. I mean, you can mock the Lord, but it's not going to turn out well. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Obviously, there's lots of terrible things out there happening. I'm not saying that this is equivalent to the horrible levels of abortion that we see in this country, but I just want to encourage our viewers to say, I hope that this stirs you to continue pressing in to know God, to get to know him more intimately, because out there right now in America, which again is, I mean, I could be wrong on this, correct me guys if I'm wrong, but this is a nation that it's like the most Christian nation. It's fallen, but I think it's one of the most, I know there's like Nigeria or one of those countries is like really Christian, but this is a historically Christian nation, but we have just absolute boldness. I mean, I don't think you would see an advertisement like this in the 90s or the 80s. Not saying there's nothing that exists or they've never made fun of God or anything like that, but it's just the comfort in doing this. It just feels like we're in a time where it's just so much more comfortable. Now, we're not like Islam where we're like, hey, we got to kill these people that made this. We have to kill them and burn them. No, we're not like that. But it should stir us to prayer. It should stir us to reading God's word and really just put fire in us to proclaim the word of God, not be ashamed, because look how unashamed they are. Look how unashamed they are. We got to be unashamed. They're mocking hard. Now, I don't know if you guys want to talk about the aspects of the video like at all. I know, you weren't terribly interested, Matt, but I think it's kind of funny how they went to the soul cycle thing, and the woman is actually speaking like new age type of spirituality, saying like, you have the power, you have everything in you. And they make God, this mockery of God, affirm that. I thought that was quite interesting, because that is not, because they tried to keep some things on brand, right? He's like, oh, I made everything. He made the wine. But then, at that part, they kind of gave a little nod to the affirmations. So I wonder if there's some subliminal messaging in there to try to say, hey, like this is on par with faith. This is on par with faith, believing like I have the power, I have it in me, I can do it. Because you see that kind of stuff in those soul cycle classes. They go crazy, they're sweating, there's a bunch of wax candles everywhere, and they're just saying all the affirmations that ever existed. They probably open up the book of affirmations, written over the past 500 years, and they're bouncing up and down and reading it. I don't know. Deacon Alex, what do you think, my man? What are you got that stare? Are you seeing something here?
No, not really, man. I mean, I think you had said it when we were originally talking about this earlier. The world's going to do worldly things, right? The world is going to do blasphemous things, and it does bother me a little bit, but I try not to just let it get too under my skin a little bit. It does bother me a little bit, like it gets under my skin a little bit, but other than that, I mean, it's sad that people would do that because, man, are they going to regret it when they have to face him on Judgment Day, and that's the reality is, God is going to be the one who gets the last laugh. He's going to be the one that is going to be like, you shouldn't have done that, but you did, and you liked it, but now you're not going to like it, and it's not good. Yeah.
And does it stir you at all to, does it resonate with you, what I said about hoping that this stirs, not to get under your, so I agree. I don't think this should get under our skin. World is gonna world. Like Apostle David Lynn says, we're not surprised what Beyonce does. at a concert. but here's what we do want. We want to, at least I think, we want to be stirred by this. Of course it's black, and we should hate it in a sense, but as far as should it like irritate us, there's so much blasphemy. No, I don't think so. But I do think it should stir us in our faith to be bold, right? As the enemy's bold. We're not bold because the enemy's bold, but it stirs us to go, hey, man, all the more reason. All the more reason. Absolutely. We need to get out there and faith the nation.
You know what I would like to see? I would like to see what Joe Rogan thinks about that commercial. That's what I would like to think. I would like to be there with Joe Rogan and him.
I can't buy that.
Seeing
I'm
something
sticking
like
with
that.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Joe. That's what I'm talking about, Joe.
We need Jesus.
we need Jesus.
I found
man.
a song from 1970.
Dude, I think
that's a
I think
Jesus
Joe
song,
is,
a pro-Jesus song.
I think Joe. I'll let
Jams,
Joe
dude.
finish that off.
Don't you come to Jesus? He's got the answer.
Listen to this. No, listen to this.
Why don't you come for Jesus for the answer? Hey,
Yeah,
let's go.
I'll let Joe finish that off. He finished it. He's good.
And I don't think that when I first saw this, I saw it because of Brother Ray Comfort, who I love and respect a lot. Only thing I had to say about it is I don't think it was that big of a deal. I think this could have been sacrilegious and mocking God if they had done a lot more. I didn't see that much in it that was that offensive enough to even bring it into the attention of people. So maybe I've got more of a palate for wicked sense of humor. I definitely do enjoy the darker side of things. I didn't think it was that bad at all. And in fact, it reminds me of earlier commercials where you're always using that iconography of like the devil, and the devil's sort of like, speaking and promoting a product, and that product, I think Angel Studios, maybe The Chosen had did something like that. That was a little bit controversial going back a few years ago. And I didn't have that big of a deal with that as well. I think it actually was The Chosen that had done an ad like that, right? Yeah.
You know what also confused me about it, brothers, is it looks like they're trying to depict the Father.
Here it is.
And they go, you created all things. But shouldn't they be depicting Jesus then? If they're trying to, if we're going to get theological here.
I mean, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, they're all co-equal, co-creators. They each played their role in creation. So, look, but they don't know. They just don't know.
I know. I'm just, yeah.
They just don't know.
This just came to my mind, and maybe it doesn't apply, but this is the Angel Studios one.
Welcome to hell. Chuck here sounds like fingernails. The erasers sound like Nickelback.
Whoa.
But you know what's even worse? This high-quality TV series.
We got going on here, Matt.
Man, I just learned the secrets to
AI. Matt,
this is you, Matt.
Watching it.
I know, right?
Sorry about that. Sorry about it. A little bit of part there. I forgot you can see my screen.
I learned about the Matrix.
Whoa, but are they? Are they devil's horns? Like in
Chuck here sounds like fingernails. The erasers sound like Nickelback. But you know what's even worse? This high-quality TV series about Jesus called The Chosen. Today's lecture, how do we discredit it? How do we shut it down? And most of all, how do we stop watching it?
I know, right?
Know the trick.
There's something below hell?
The DMV.
Yeah.
Aside from the superb acting and beautiful visuals, the worst part about The Chosen is that they depict Jesus and his followers as real people.
Gross.
People with a sense of humor.
One of the rooms is haunted by my dead grandmother.
Oh, I'll take that one. People who disagree with each other.
Oh, yes, great advice coming from someone who disappeared for 2 days.
How dare you?
Don't talk to her like that.
People who struggle with their faith.
I've tried.
For a long time, I know. And you don't want false hope again, I understand.
So they're showing them as real people. Big deal.
Big deal? Showing them as real people is the opposite of what I've been trying to do.
Pause that. That's what I love about this show. Okay, Faith in Nation, where it's not just a name of another podcast, but it's a movement. But it's a movement about the faith of us Christians, real people. We're real people. We're real individuals, Matt. You're a real guy. That's why I like you, Matt. That's why I like you. That's why I knew you'd do good on the show. Probably one of the best that ever been. You've been doing it a long time, long time, Brother Matt. Okay, back in your early days, you have a tough past with Alex Jones, tough past. But now look at you. You're coming into your own. You're doing great, Matt. Brother Jonathan doing so well. You're a real guy. Okay, that's why I like you. I like you a lot. I like you a lot. Anyway.
Well, I just wanted to put this old comment back up. Is this AI? I don't know. Is this? He just said we were real. What are you saying, Patrick Gosib? No, just kidding. He said that 1 hour ago. Wow. Yeah, I'd put the.
Are we going to talk about Alberta? Can we talk about Alberta? Can we talk, please, Canada?
I haven't eaten anything today. Nothing. I've eaten zero.
Man, guys, I want to tell you, I've been like strategically trying to eat this for like hours.
We know every time you turn your camera off.
No, I know you know. I know you.
Every time
I'm just telling you.
And we hear the clanking. We hear the clanking of the plate and the spoon.
Guys, if I wanted to hide it, I wouldn't do this. I would just turn the camera off. I know you know. I know you know, guys, audience. You know that I know that they know. It's
just
obvious.
be like Pastor David and just eat. Just gobble the food right into your mouth and the camera.
No, I don't know if I could. Maybe you got to start somewhere. Maybe I'll.
I wish I had some food.
So there is a rumor going around right now. Breaking. There is some reports that are coming out right now. Former FBI James Comey is plotting a hit on the president. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that is breaking right now, and people are talking about it. That James Comey had a post on his, I think it was one of his social media accounts, might have been his X, might have been his Instagram, where he puts in the sand 8647. Now, I don't know what 8647 means. I don't know if 86 means like the year 86, and is that when Ronald Reagan was shot? Is that what it was? I don't know, but a lot of people are talking about it right now.
While I was watching everything going on in the UK, I think it was this morning when he was live, I started having thoughts about his safety and freedom and him getting attempted assassinations again. That was definitely on my mind as I saw him, over there in the Middle East. Make sure that we stay prayerful and sober minded.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say. So in other words, what you're saying is this is what happened with James Comey?
Yeah. So
time has come. Execute Order 66.
Yeah. Former FBI director James Comey calls for Donald Trump to be
unlimited power
on his post in Instagram, and he used these shells or rocks and puts them in the sand and says 8647. Now, again, I'm not sure if that is, code for 86, or apparently 86 is slang for, killing somebody, or but it's basically it started an investigation. So there's an active investigation by the Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and also FBI Director Kash Patel, and they are looking into it. So interesting. We do need to pray for President Trump. The Bible always says pray for leaders. Pray for Biden too, because I've heard some terrible news about Biden. He might have he might be on his way out, and that's a real thing. We're not even talking about just presidency. I think he might be going through, and we all know he's been going through some real serious cognitive decline. But no, he might actually be really, really going through it, and he may not be with us very much longer. But so definitely keep him in prayer for his salvation.
Practice what Rob Schneider said earlier. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Love.
Love,
Yes.
love our neighbor, love our neighbor, love our neighbor, love our neighbor. Don't get up and love. It's really hard.
So,
it's hard.
Alberta? Canada?
Yeah. No? We got to throw Deacon Alex. We got to throw him a bone, Matt. We haven't talked about Alberta.
Right. Exactly.
We haven't talked about Alberta for 2 hours.
We'd love to hear about Alberta. Absolutely. We want to hear it. Brother, speak your heart. We're all for whatever it is you want to bring to the table. We're really excited for it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes. So I believe I am sharing my screen. So there was a new article from the Calgary Herald. You guys seeing this article? In a new poll just dropped. This is published May 14th. What are we? So this was yesterday. Okay. Published yesterday. In a new poll, 51% of Albertans want the Danielle Smith government, she's the premier of Alberta, government, to prepare a plan on how Alberta could exit Canada and become an independent country. That's over half. Now, it would be fair to say that the 51% isn't necessarily everybody that would want complete separation, okay, from Canada, okay, but it says that let me see. Yeah, I don't have it here, but it would make no difference. It says if most or all. Can't believe these ads right here. If most or all Smith's demands are not met, Carney 6 months delivered 38% likely. So basically, it hasn't changed the number per se on who wants separation. Okay. Let me see here. Let me change my tab again. But look, there is a movement that is happening. You have Zachary Tinsdale, who is a Canadian, who is advocating for Canada to join the United States. There is a movement happening. And, he does post about it quite often, talking about the 250th birthday of America, which is next year. Okay. That possibly, just possibly, Canada joins the United States, right? Now, Canada has now dropped, and this is part of it, right? Canada's new tariffs on the United States drops to nearly zero with exemptions, according to the National Post. Okay. According to the National Post, Canada has effectively suspended almost all of its retaliatory tariffs on the United States products, tamping down inflation risks and improving its growth outlook, according to Oxford Economics. Okay. Now, why is Canada doing this? Okay. Because Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, he ran on an elbows up, and I don't even know what this elbows up means, okay? But apparently they were doing this elbows up like they were going to fight Donald Trump, okay? And he won. He was losing his election. They were the Liberals were losing the election. It was going to go to the other guy, the conservative guy. He was almost guaranteed to win. He was like 60% chance of winning, and then all of a sudden, the Liberals come back with Mark Carney. Okay. And it was all based off of, we're going to fight Donald Trump. We're going to fight the fascists. We're going to fight to keep Canada, and this and that. And what has Carney done? He came over to the United States, met with Donald Trump. Very, very nice, very cordial. And even then, Donald Trump was still saying, Canada, it would be so great to be the 51st state. Anything's possible. Never say never, Mark Carney. Never say never. Why are they lifting the tariffs now? Are they folding to Donald Trump? Are they getting ready to make a deal? What deal? Remember when Mark Carney, right before Donald Trump went to the Middle East, he said that Canada, he has a very special announcement to make with Canada about Canada. What announcement is that? Is it the 51st state, Alberta? Maybe not. Probably not. Okay, probably not. They have to hold a referendum. But what is going on? Time will tell. I think something's gonna happen. I think we're probably gonna get Alberta. Maybe it's Saskatchewan.
Well, I think on the art of the deal front of things, they were sort of insinuating that they were going to establish new friends. If America doesn't want to be our friend anymore, fine, we'll find new friends. And I think they were hinting at China becoming that new friend. And just as China had been indicating that they were going to try to find alliances, and no one joined their alliance, and with a deal having been made now with China, what does Canada have to stand on? They've got no leverage whatsoever.
They have nothing to stand on. Yeah, they have nothing to stand on. And look, I guarantee you, look.
You're our enemy, Canada. We hate you. We hate you more than we hate every other sovereign nation in the world.
Panama was getting in bed with China. And what did America do? They kicked out China. They basically threatened Panama. I guarantee you, if Carney and Canadians, if they try to start getting in bed with China, that is going to give Donald Trump all the reason to annex Canada. We can't have China.
Us.
No China. No China. China comes from
it comes from China, and pretty soon, guys, I don't know why it's so small or why it looks like that,
because you have two tabs open, brother. I'll try to remain calm.
Oh, do I have two? All right. How do
I will try to remain calm. No big deal. No big deal at all.
Zoom that in. Zoom that in.
I'm gonna zoom that in. I'm trying to zoom it in.
Close the first one.
Just close the other tab, brother. Just close it.
What's the first one? I just need to know. Hold on. Don't worry, I got this. I don't see a first one.
I see the sweat.
What is it, brother Matt? Tell me. What is it? What is the first one? You see that, everybody? He's not going to tell me.
You have tabs, brother. I can't take over your computer.
Just go ahead, you have tabs at the top, bro.
Yes, you have tabs.
But none of them have the little blue sign. Here, I'm just going to.
Just press exit, the little call hang up button on the tab. Okay, now you got one out. Good job. Good job.
Bam, look at that, man.
I'll just do the other one.
All right. I think I did them both. All right. Now we're going to open this back up. Did you guys see what I had? You saw, brothers. Did you see what it was?
Something.
You saw something. You saw that I was doing something. I did something, and I think you're going to like it. It's right here.
What you did is you ruined the entire show with this fault.
Yes. That's the voice
and Matt
of
just having a meltdown.
Faith. That is the voice of. That is that Christ-like spirit we love.
There are still Thank you.
Man,
we do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
We do a little trolling. That's all it is. Just a little trolling. We do a little trolling.
My neighbor is like, they see walking around with, they see us like painting crosses in the backyard, walking around with crosses, and then they hear me screaming at the top of my lungs like this. What a stumbling block.
Okay. Faith in Nation, Alberta, the 51st state. That looks like Brother Matt right here. Look, with the suit.
I think that's
going to Alberta.
And I think you would be. You could be the ambassador. You could be the relations guy. Except maybe not do the deals, but you could like make the friends. You can make the friends on behalf of the United States. Bing, bing, we just got to put you in a nice suit. We just got to, and you got to hang out with that guy down there, or maybe that's Paul. That's your friend, or what was his name? That's your buddy that does deals. The guy below.
Robbie.
There he is. See, he's like, man, I'm gonna get you the best deal you ever seen.
Robbie, he's not saved. He'll lie right to your face. I bring him with me to do my negotiations. He'll pretend like we're about to leave.
He's like, you ruined the show. He's right there.
Come on, Alberta.
Man. All right. I think we're at that time, guys. It's that time of night.
Is that time? Is it that time to play? Is it the time to play my worship song of the day?
Man, I didn't even know there was one. Like they said about the Holy Spirit in that part of the Bible.
Well, let's get this off the screen, and then, well, you know, it's just a little known song. We'll use this to play us out in the background.
That was a pretty good Bible joke, right, Alex? I hadn't even heard that there was heard of one. Man, this channel is so demonetized. What's going on? Or I mean, I'm sorry, this show.
This used to be my entrance music as I street preach.
Oh yeah. They got my approval.
Here comes.
Wow, it's so long.
Thank you.
I just don't want it to get copyright. That's great. That's really great.
Oh, we get copyrighted, dude. We get copyrighted all the time.
Doesn't matter. That was my WWE entrance music. This is when I first met the Lord, and I esteemed myself way too highly, and I would go out, I would blare this music, and I would as I was approaching to the street preaching position, I would blare that song on repeat as loud as you possibly can, and it was me just that's right. Here comes a spokesperson for the Lord. You are about to hear something you don't want to hear.
Prideful.
Not much. It's good entrance music. But as you know, I have a little bit of I have a theater background, which means, I have a palette of music that people haven't heard before. Everyone's heard all this Christian music that everyone else plays. But when I pick a song, you haven't heard it, I guarantee you.
And that's a fact. Well, as facts go, I think it might be a fact that we've reached the end. The time is near.
It is the end of the world.
So I just want to say one last thing. I noticed a couple things. Number one is we were actually able to go live on the Faith the Nation YouTube channel. Is that a first?
No, we did it last week too.
Really?
Yeah. So then we've added to our palette. We've added the Faith the Nation YouTube channel live. We've added the X account, and we've added a Rumble.
Man, look at us, dude. I think we're getting a grand total of about 30 watchers now with all those platforms.
Man, man. Come on, don't talk like that, man.
Man, dude.
That's negative, bro.
We're growing. No, we're growing, bro. That's called growth. And our viewers that watch, like Sister Shirley and Brother Harold, Sister Licia, we love them so much. Thank you guys for watching. Look, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, go to our Faith the Nation YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe there as well. That really helps us out. Also, hit our X account at Faith_the_Nation. Rumble, Faith the Nation.
Check it out.
Man, I'm telling you, it's not just the name of a podcast, it's a movement.
Oh, and stay tuned for the new show, Matt Lepasic Therapy Hour, midnight with Matt Lepasic, okay? Where we will be, it's not a real show. Go ahead, Alex, sorry.
Take us away, bro. Take us away.
What do you want me to do? Did you faith the nation? Or you want to end the show?
I don't know.
Did you want
What else we got? Do we got anything else? Do we have anything
End
else?
it right now.
Non-existent wife, start preparing thy burgereth immediately. God bless you. What the heck? What are you guys doing?
We do a little trolling. It's called we do